Who do you think you are? How dare you act so arrogantly in my territory? Meng Xinyan roared and surrounded me with his men. Unfortunately, before this Hong Kong Island Meng Xiao could be arrogant for a few seconds, he was kicked and couldn't stand steadily. Boss Chun is a distinguished guest of the Tang family. How dare you touch him? A cold voice sounded, and the whole place was silent. On this day, I went from being a joke in the eyes of a group of people to a mountain that they looked up to. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like this story, please share and let me know in the comment section. I will update the next part. Chapter 308. Severance of Relations on the 62nd Day. Reward. 6% of Zhongtian Entertainment Company's shares. After a brief chat, I signed a network agreement with the boss of Brownie Entertainment via video. Then, I decisively transferred the deposit of $30 million. The boss of Brownie Entertainment was beaming with joy as he saw the $30 million in cash. He quickly ended the video call and went to arrange the schedule for his international superstar. I also exited the meeting interface with satisfaction. Time flies by, and a new day quietly arrives. On this day, my jewelry exhibition ushered in a busier time, and even I felt a little overwhelmed. At this critical moment, Ruo Shui brought a group of people to help in time. We chatted for a few minutes on the video call last night. She deliberately put down her work and came to support my jewelry exhibition in person. As soon as Ruo Shui arrived, she showed her extraordinary organizational skills, quickly commanding the entire scene, and everything was arranged in an orderly manner. Her calm and composed temperament made her look like a virtuous hostess. With her help, I felt much more relaxed. Looking at her busy figure, I couldn't help but sigh. It is such a great fortune to have a girlfriend like Ruo Shui. Just as I was about to continue my work, my cell phone suddenly rang. The call was from someone who was specifically responsible for keeping an eye on Sue's Capital Group. Boss, Su Shukai has been making a lot of trouble recently. Sue's Capital Group has become a mess, and there is no way he can take any action against Ronka Group. There was a hint of excitement in the subordinate's tone. It is estimated that within 10 days at most, or 3 to 5 days at least, Sue's Capital Group will be in complete chaos and conflicts will break out completely, he added. I smiled slightly. This was exactly what I wanted to see. Su Shukai was jealous of talented people and was cleaning out the senior executives promoted by Jiang Xiangming in Sue's Capital Group and bringing in his own confidants from outside. This kind of internal struggle has intensified. The entire group is like a dam hollowed out by ants. It won't be long before I can completely disintegrate it with just a slight push. Keep monitoring. Wait until I'm done with the jewelry exhibition, and then I'll send Su Capital Group on its final journey. I ordered in a deep voice. After hanging up the phone, I got back to my work. However, at this time, a storm about Tiffany quietly started on the internet. Someone questioned the quality of a certain Tiffany product online, and then more and more people joined in the discussion. In a short period of time, comments like, "Is Tiffany worthy of being called a top luxury product?" and "Whoever buys Tiffany in the future is a moron" quickly topped the trending search list. This storm of public opinion not only affected the domestic market, but also the international market. It is obvious that this was not accidental, but was carefully planned by someone behind the scenes. At the same time, in Bulgari's Asia-Pacific headquarters, Roderick Price was leisurely watching the news with a sneer on his face. This was exactly his plan, to guide public opinion by hiring a group of trolls to discredit Tiffany. He also cleverly pointed the finger at Cartier, taking the opportunity to stir up conflict between Tiffany and Cartier. He believed that he would benefit from it no matter what the result was. "Young man, you are still too naive." Roderick looked down on me and obviously did not take me seriously. On my side, the team quickly discovered the cyber attack on Tiffany. "Boss, Cartier has gone too far. They actually used such despicable means." The team members were outraged. "It may not be Cartier." I analyzed calmly. "If I were planning it myself, I would never let the target lock on me so easily. The mastermind behind this may be someone else." Just as I was thinking about countermeasures, the system's mechanical voice suddenly sounded. 62nd day of severing relations, rewarded with 6% of Zhongtian Entertainment's shares, now accumulated to 12%, become vice president. Share purchase contract has been stored in the study. When I saw this reward, I immediately realized how to respond. I quickly contacted Zhongtian Entertainment, which is the third largest entertainment company in China. They are very familiar with controlling public opinion and manipulating hot searches. After the call was connected, I explained the situation. However, the other party's answer surprised me. Chapter 309. Several international superstars show up, shocking Bulgari's president. "It's a small matter, Mr. Chun. Just leave it to me." It will be done in 5 minutes. The senior executive of Zhongtian Entertainment Company spoke in a relaxed tone, which surprised me for a moment. 5 minutes? Are you sure you're not kidding? I raised my eyebrows. After all, Tiffany's negative news has already reached the middle of the hot searches and may even climb to the top. Director Chun, you have just bought shares and may not understand the strength of Zhongtian Entertainment. We are the third largest entertainment company in the country. This kind of thing is too easy for us. After the senior executives of Zhongtian Entertainment finished their explanation, they went to arrange the operation. His confidence made me feel a little relieved, but the efficiency of 5 minutes still made me a little skeptical. However, just 2 or 3 minutes later, when I refreshed the hot search list, the popularity of the negative news had dropped sharply and eventually disappeared from the hot search list. Such efficiency. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. It seems that I still underestimated the strength of Zhongtian Entertainment. It is indeed worthy of its reputation to be the third largest entertainment company in China. Soon, the senior management of Zhongtian Entertainment contacted me again. I was very satisfied with his performance and said that I would remember this contribution in the future. Thank you, Director Chin, for your appreciation. The other party's tone was excited, and he was obviously trying hard to leave a good impression on this new shareholder. However, I suspect someone is behind this. Can you find out who is behind it? Although the negative news has disappeared, I want to hold someone accountable even more. It will take some time, maybe half a day to a day. The other party promised to investigate as soon as possible. I nodded in agreement. Anyway, the result is more important than speed. Meanwhile, at Bulgaris Asia Pacific headquarters, Roderick Price was so angry when he saw the negative news being suppressed that he smashed his phone. We spent so much money, and it was suppressed in a few minutes. How did Tiffany have such resources? He roared, his anger difficult to calm down. President, don't be angry. No matter how successful Tiffany is in China, it can't threaten our international market. A senior executive nearby tried to comfort him. However, they didn't know that the international superstars I invited had already arrived at the exhibition. This time, my target was not just the domestic market. The male and female protagonists of Titanic are here. A burst of exclamations rang out in the exhibition hall. Seeing Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet appear, the audience was boiling with excitement. Leo, my idol. Kate, goddess. Countless audiences screamed. Who wouldn't be shocked by such a lineup? Then, an even bigger surprise arrived. Iron Man is coming. The audience almost jumped up in excitement when they saw Robert Downey Jr. appear. Subsequently, more international superstars appeared one after another. These stars not only have a huge fan base in China, but also have a high reputation in the international market. The entire jewelry exhibition instantly became the focus of the city because of the arrival of these superstars. There were huge crowds of people outside the exhibition hall, and long queues stretched out. Not only that, international superstars also simultaneously posted updates on social media to promote the Tiffany jewelry exhibition. This wave of operations directly pushed the exhibition to the global hot search. How did Chun Fan invite so many international superstars? Bulgaris management was stunned, and their previous confidence collapsed in an instant. If the situation continues like this, the impact on us will be very serious. Roderick finally couldn't sit still anymore, his face full of anxiety and regret. As for me, after a busy day, I can finally relax a little. As night fell, Ruoshue came to my side and asked softly, "What are you thinking about?" "I have an idea that will completely change the situation." I looked into the distance with a mysterious smile on my lips. Chapter 310 alarmed the top management and became the third largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. "Oh." I took the water from Ruoshue, took a sip, and smiled as I answered her question. "I plan to have these international superstars on stage together for a unique jewelry show." "Jewelry fashion show?" Ruoshue was stunned for a moment. Then her eyes flashed with admiration. "What a great idea. With so many big stars on the same stage, the scene must be amazing." "Of course." I smiled confidently. "I spent $100 million to hire them. They took my money, so how could I refuse?" "Indeed." Ruoshue nodded, a little worried in her tone. "But will they really cooperate? After all, these big stars have their own plans." "Oh, don't worry." I shrugged. "If they don't want to, just ask them to return the money. Who want to go against money?" During dinner, Ruoshue and I talked about our previously planned trip to Hong Kong Island. We decided to take a relaxing vacation after the jewelry exhibition. The next morning, I received a call from a senior executive of Zhongtian Entertainment, who told me that he had investigated and found out who was behind the incident. It was none other than Roderick Price, president of Bulgari Asia Pacific. It's him. I sneered. I had expected this. After all, Bulgari is one of Tiffany's main competitors. Follow my plan. I ordered. The senior executives of Zhongtian Entertainment hesitated. Director Chun, this is Bulgari with a strong background. What if? Don't worry, I said calmly. This is Tiffany's instruction. It's not your turn to bear the responsibility if something goes wrong. With my assurance, the other party took decisive action. Soon after, some old news about Bulgari resurfaced and sparked heated discussions on the internet. These news were originally suppressed by Bulgari, but were now dug up again by CTI Entertainment, causing Bulgari's image to plummet and sales to be affected. When Roderick Price heard the news, he was so angry that his face turned blue. This time, he shot himself in the foot. In the morning, the remaining international superstars also arrived at the exhibition site. I convened them for a brief meeting and proposed the plan for the jewelry catwalk. It only takes once. It won't take a few minutes. I looked at them and said in a relaxed tone, "Don't worry, the money I paid won't be wasted on you." The superstars agreed without hesitation because of the high remuneration. Then, I selected several top-quality jewelry designed by Royan and gave them to the most popular female stars to wear. They are already beautiful, and wearing these jewels makes them even more beautiful, showing the exquisiteness of the jewels to the fullest. An hour later, the jewelry show officially began. As soon as these international superstars took the stage, they were as confident and calm as professional models, attracting the attention of all the audience. The audience was amazed by the visual feast of the fashion show, and cheers rose one after another. In a short time, the news of the fashion show quickly spread to the international media. Tiffany's popularity and influence have risen rapidly, even beyond my expectations. Sales have also increased significantly, especially several new jewelry models which have been very popular. At this time, the president of Tiffany called me to congratulate me and said that the company would reimburse me for the $100 million I spent. I couldn't stop smiling when I heard the news. After hanging up the phone, the system's voice came to my mind. Ding! Special mission completed, rewarded with 6% of Intercontinental Hotels Group shares, becoming the third largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Looking at the reward content, my heart was filled with joy. Billions of shares were easily in my hands, and I had completed another wonderful layout. Just as I was immersed in joy, the system sounded again, and today's reward had arrived. I looked at the content displayed on the screen and was secretly happy in my heart. This harvest was really beyond my expectations. Chapter 3, 11 Demon City Flower Xia Rua Shui. The couple's trip begins. Ding! 63rd day after the severance of relations. Reward. 7% of Tiffany Group's shares. Just as I was thinking about what to do next, the system's voice sounded again. And this time the reward made me very excited. With this bonus, my stake in Tiffany Group has reached 35%. More than one-third of the shares belong to me, and I only need 15% to become the largest shareholder. Thinking that I will soon be in complete control of Tiffany Group, I can't help but smile with satisfaction. This day is indeed a good day. The success of this jewelry exhibition is not only due to my operation, but also to Xiao Ruyan's contribution. The jewelry she designed played a crucial role. So, I called Xiao Ruyan to express my gratitude to her, and at the same time planned to transfer her to Tiffany's Asia-Pacific headquarters to let her train there for a while. Although I am now the vice president of Tiffany, it is not convenient to directly arrange her to the headquarters as the chief designer. However, this will not be a problem after I completely control the Tiffany Group. After I hung up the phone, I felt relieved. At this time, some international superstars came to say goodbye to me one after another. They took the initiative to add my contact information, and their tone was full of respect. These people know very well that a big money bag like me is worth making friends with. After all, there may be opportunities for cooperation in the future. After bidding farewell to these stars, I decided not to worry about the jewelry exhibition anymore and let my subordinates handle the rest. I found Rua Shui, and after a brief discussion with her, we decided to leave for Hong Kong Island this afternoon to relax for a while. At around 3 p.m., we took a plane to Hong Kong Island. In the evening, the plane landed, and Rua Shui and I officially set foot on the land of Hong Kong Island. Because it was our first time here, and the decision was made suddenly, we did not arrange a pickup vehicle in advance. So I was going to take a taxi to the hotel. Just then, a young couple walked out of the airport. The woman looked up and saw Rua Shui and immediately shouted in surprise, "Xia Rua Shui? Ruoxue looked up and recognized the person. Yang Yining? Yang Yining is from the Yang family in the Magic City. She and Ruoxue have known each other since childhood, but their relationship is not very good. It is probably because Ruoxue is superior to her in every aspect, which makes her feel a little unbalanced. It's been several years since we last met. Yang Yining spoke with a sigh, but her eyes soon fell on me, with a hint of disdain in her tone. How come Xia Ruoxue, who was once famous in Shanghai, found such a boyfriend? There wasn't even a car to pick her up at the airport, and she had to take a taxi. She really lowered her status. She said sarcastically, Yang Yining, how can you talk like that? Ruoxue retorted without hesitation, with obvious dissatisfaction in her tone, and it was obvious that she was protecting me. How can I say that? Is what I said wrong? Yang Yining continued to show off proudly. Look at my boyfriend. We drove a Rolls-Royce Phantom to pick him up at the airport. As she spoke, she intimately held the hand of the man beside her, with a look of pride on her face. It seemed that she couldn't wait to regain some sense of superiority in front of Ruoxue. Xia Ruoxue, you are really bad at choosing a boyfriend. She said sarcastically, you still need to learn more from me. Hearing what she said, I couldn't help but smile. I looked at her calmly, and I already had a plan for how to deal with it in my mind. Chapter 3:12 Chen Fan's identity as a shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group was exposed, shocking Yang Yining. Look at my boyfriend, he's so handsome and has a strong background. He's a rich man in Hangzhou and has businesses and connections in Hong Kong Island. Yang Yining boasted proudly. As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Xinping had a Rolls-Royce Phantom driven in front of them. The two of them got in the car with pride on their faces and drove towards the city in a cool manner. Ruoxue and I looked at each other, not caring about their bragging. We just felt like we were watching a clown show. We immediately got a taxi and headed straight to the Intercontinental Hong Kong Island. On the way to the airport, Ruoxue asked me where I was going to stay. I blurted out, of course, the Intercontinental Hotel. This is a hotel that I control myself, and staying anywhere is not as comfortable as staying at home. More than 20 minutes later, we arrived at the hotel. As soon as we walked into the lobby, we saw Yang Yining and Sun Xinping standing in line at the front desk. Because there were not many people, we stood behind them and did not rush to reveal our identities. Soon it was the guest in front's turn to check in, and he said, a double room, please. I'm very sorry, sir. And to the guest behind you, the last room has been booked. The receptionist said apologetically, what? There are no rooms. The guest looked confused, and Yang Yining and Sun Xinping were also stunned. Honey, what should we do now? Yang Yining looked at Sun Xinping in panic. It's okay. This little thing can't bother me. Anyone here may not have a room, but I definitely have one. Sun Xinping looked confident and took out his cell phone to make a call. Honey, are you done? Yang Yining asked impatiently. Of course, my friend said he could get it done for me within a minute. Sun Xinping straightened his chest and raised his voice deliberately, as if he was afraid that others couldn't hear him. The guests nearby were full of admiration, secretly sighing that this young man had a strong background. Yang Yining glanced at us proudly, as if she were a winner. 1 minute passed, then 2 minutes passed, and there was still no news from the room. I couldn't help but laugh. Your 1 minute is really long. Honey, wait a little longer. Yang Yining was getting impatient. At this moment, Sun Xinping's cell phone rang. When he answered it, his face suddenly darkened. Brother, it's too difficult to book a room at the Intercontinental Hotel today. Let's change to another hotel. An apologetic voice came from the other end of the phone. Sun Xinping hung up the phone helplessly, and Yang Yining's face became embarrassed. After all, she was showing off happily just now. If you can't book a room, get out of the way, I said coldly. Yang Yining snorted unconvincedly. Humph, even my boyfriend can't book a room. How can you book one? I was too lazy to talk to her, so I went up to the front desk and briefly explained the situation. The front desk lady immediately put on a respectful expression and handed over a room card with both hands. This is the room card for the presidential suite. Please keep it safe. The receptionist said respectfully. Yang Yining and Sun Xinping stopped in their tracks and stared at the room card in disbelief. Presidential suite? Holding the room card, Ruoxue and I walked towards the elevator and prepared to go to the suite. Behind us, Yang Yining was furious and rushed back to the front desk to ask, Didn't you say there were no rooms? Why did you give them the presidential suite? Ma'am, I've just told you that there are no rooms available. The receptionist replied with a smile. Then why can they live in the presidential suite? Is it because they are rich? Sun Xinping took out the black card and said arrogantly, "It's not because of the money, but because the Mr. Chin just now is a shareholder of our Intercontinental Hotels Group." The receptionist responded calmly. This sentence was like thunder, leaving Yang Yining and Sun Xinping dumbfounded. They had never thought that I was actually a shareholder of the Intercontinental Hotel. "He's a shareholder?" Yang Yining repeated blankly, her face full of shock and embarrassment. She thought I was a gigolo just now, but the truth slapped her hard in the face. Sun Xinping, who was standing by, also blushed and felt ashamed. He knew that he was not worthy of competing with me in such an occasion. He's a real boss. He's so low-key that people admire him. The guests around sighed in admiration. No one paid attention to Sun Xinping anymore. Instead, they looked at me with admiration. Yang Yining and Sun Xinping left in disgrace, no longer showing the arrogance they had just shown. After we entered the suite, we put our luggage away, took a short rest, and then went out to do our business. Chapter 313. Encounter with Bulgari Asia Pacific President. 800 million, no big deal. After hurriedly packing our luggage at noon, Ruo Shui and I had a simple meal. By now, our stomachs were already growling with emptiness. To treat myself, I chose a top Michelin 3-star restaurant in Hong Kong Island, which is one of the top 3 high-end French restaurants in Hong Kong Island and is famous throughout the region. After sitting down, Ruo Shui and I ordered a few signature dishes and enjoyed this rare tranquility. However, just as we were ordering, a foreign man in a suit and tie walked in, surrounded by several people. The man was sitting not far away, with a sad face. When he was choosing wine, he accidentally saw me and his eyes widened with anger. "It's him," the man said in a low voice with gritted teeth, his eyes almost burning me. His companion noticed something was wrong and asked curiously, "What's wrong, Mr. Roderick?" Only then did we know that the angry foreign man was Roderick Price, the president of Bulgari Asia Pacific, who had been warned many times by the headquarters because of a series of recent scandals and a serious decline in sales. "Do you know why I'm frowning? It's all because of that bastard." When he spoke, his eyes were like swords, pointing directly at me, as if I was the culprit. When his companions heard this, they all stood up for him. "What? This young man is the cause of this? He really went too far? Seeing this guy eating in the same restaurant with us. I can't eat at all," Roderick complained with a gloomy face. "Easy." His fat friend patted his chest and said proudly, "I know the general manager of this restaurant very well. Just ask them to kick him out." After the fat man finished speaking, he turned around and went to the kitchen. A few minutes later, a waiter walked up to us coldly and said in an unquestionable tone, "You two, please leave." I was enjoying the food with Ruo Shui when I was interrupted. I frowned and said, "Leaving? We just started eating. You don't have to pay for today's consumption. Please leave immediately." The waiter was still rude. "What's the reason?" I asked calmly. "Reason?" The fat man came out from the kitchen and said arrogantly, "You've offended my friend. Get out of here yourself," is the reason. "Who is your friend?" I looked at him without any emotion. "My friend is Roderick Price, president of Bulgari Group Asia Pacific. You have offended him, and you still dare to eat here." The fat man looked at me proudly. I understood the reason instantly, but before I could open my mouth, the system's voice in my mind rang out. Temporary mission, by the restaurant, become the boss and kick Roderick Price and the others out. The reward was 7% of Zhongtian Entertainment shares, making me the second largest shareholder. I smiled, looked at the clown in front of me, and said fearlessly, "Let the boss come out." "Want to see our boss?" The waiter sneered. "Who do you think you are?" At this moment, a lady in gorgeous clothes came over. She was the owner of the restaurant. She heard the quarrel and came out to check. I glanced at her calmly and said, "This restaurant is good. I want to buy it. How much is it?" Everyone was stunned when these words came out. Even the noble lady was stunned for a moment and asked tentatively, "Are you sure?" "Sure, name a price." I said lightly, 800 million. She thought for a moment and then said a high number, obviously thinking I was joking. "Deal." I calmly wrote a check and handed it over. The whole restaurant suddenly fell silent. Everyone looked at me in amazement, especially Roderick Price and his gang. The expressions on their faces were extremely interesting. They couldn't believe their eyes at all. After receiving the check, the lady smiled happily and announced immediately, "From now on, this restaurant belongs to Mr. Chun." I slowly turned my head, looked at Roderick Price and his companions, and sneered, "You are the ones who don't deserve to eat here. Now get out." Chapter 314, Kill It While It's Sick. Xiao Ruo Shui wants to give Chin Fan a special birthday gift. 800 million? It was just a small amount. As soon as these words came out, the whole restaurant fell into a deathly silence. The onlookers had gathered in a circle, staring at the check I had just written. After taking a closer look, they confirmed, "This is real. There is nothing wrong with the check." Wow, this is awesome. This is what a real rich man looks like, spending 800 million without even blinking an eye. The onlookers gasped, their faces filled with shock. Roderick Price and his friends were stunned, their faces full of disbelief. They obviously didn't expect that I could easily take out 800 million. How is it? I looked at the restaurant owner, his expression normal. For me, this is not a losing business at all. The mission reward is enough for me to earn billions. The restaurant owner stared at the check for a few seconds with excitement in her eyes. Okay. She nodded decisively. She immediately asked someone to bring a pen and paper and signed a simple transfer contract on the spot, selling the restaurant to me. After signing the contract, she took the check and left excitedly without even looking at the restaurant. I turned to look at Roderick Price and the others and smiled. From now on, I am the new boss here. When they heard this, their faces froze instantly. They were so arrogant before, but now they were just stunned. Who is the general manager of the restaurant? I asked calmly. I am. A man stepped forward with his head held high. He was the one who had just ordered them to leave. Very good from now on. You are fired. Get out immediately. I pointed at him with a cold tone. Oh, and you too. I turned my gaze to the waiter, who was acting like a bully. The two panicked instantly and begged for mercy. Boss, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Boss, I'm just an errand boy. The general manager asked me to do this. The waiter looked terrified. I was too lazy to pay attention to them and just asked the security to kick them out. Then I turned my gaze to Roderick Price and said lightly, President of Bulgari Group Asia Pacific, right? Your troubles have just begun. What do you mean? Roderick's face turned black and he glared at me angrily. Don't worry, your sales will continue to decline. I will let you see with your own eyes the decline of Bulgari in the Asia-Pacific region. I smiled slightly and asked someone to kick them out. They were thrown out of the restaurant in a mess. It was the dinner rush hour, and everyone was looking at them. It was really embarrassing. Ding! Mission completed. Buy the restaurant and evict Roderick Price. Acquire 7% of Zhongtian Entertainment shares and become the second largest shareholder. The system's reward made me very happy. Together with this 7% stake, I now hold 19% of Zhongtian Entertainment shares, and my position is even more stable. After dealing with all this, I sat down to continue eating and said with emotion, I never thought that I could make billions by eating a meal. After dinner, I immediately contacted Tiffany's Asia-Pacific headquarters and asked them to step up their efforts to suppress Bulgari, while Bulgari was in the whirlpool of public opinion. As a direct competitor, Bulgari's decline is an opportunity for Tiffany to rise. It is an iron rule in the business world to kill them while they are weak. After arranging all this, I promoted the restaurant's deputy general manager to general manager, arranged some work, and then left with Ruo Shui. At night, Ruo Shui and I strolled along the seaside of Hong Kong Island. The night view was so beautiful that it made people intoxicated. Soon, we came to the famous night view viewing point of Hong Kong Island. Ruo Shui took out her cell phone and took several photos with me. This was our first trip together, and she obviously cherished it very much. By the way, is your birthday coming soon? Ruo Shui suddenly asked me after taking the photos. Hey, how did you know? I was a little surprised. I saw your ID card when I was checking in at the hotel just now. Ruo Shui said with a smile. On your birthday, I will give you a special birthday gift. Ruo Shui said mysteriously, her eyes full of anticipation. From her expression, I could tell that this gift was definitely not simple. What I didn't know was that this gift was related to the Su family in Jinling, and it was enough to seriously damage the Su family's vitality. As for what the gift is, I was curious, but chose to wait quietly. Chapter 315. Celebrities Have Privileges. Asking Chen Fan to get lost? A group of tall, muscular security guards suddenly rushed over and shouted, Make way! Our crew has chosen this place, and we're going to start filming soon. Get out of here! Although the tourists were somewhat dissatisfied, facing these strong bodyguards, they could only complain a few words and walked out reluctantly. One of the bodyguards, who was about 1.9 meters tall, walked up to Roshue and me and said impatiently, Are you deaf? Get out of here! Before he finished speaking, he tried to push me away. I sneered, grabbed his wrist, and counterattacked, knocking him to the ground. Ah! The tall bodyguard screamed and rolled on the ground in pain, holding his shoulder. This scene instantly attracted the attention of all tourists, and everyone stopped and looked at the situation here. The crew leader stepped forward, his face gloomy. How could you hit someone? He was the first to attack. I was just acting in self-defense. I responded coldly. Self-defense? The person in charge sneered. If you hadn't attacked us by surprise, how could our bodyguards have been knocked down by you? Stop pretending. Get out of here. This is not the place for you. Just as he was trying to drive us away, the system's mechanical voice sounded in my mind. Ding! Mission released. This is a public place. Why do you want to leave? Fight back and make them leave. Mission reward. 5% of Tiffany Group shares, plus 131 experience points. Seeing the mission reward, I couldn't help but smile. 5% of Tiffany Group shares? It was a free gift. I looked up at the person in charge and said coldly, this is a public place. Why are you asking me to leave? Your crew's filming is a private matter. You have no right to occupy public resources. As soon as I said this, the tourists around me nodded in agreement. Yes, this is a public place. Why are they chasing us away? Public resources belong to everyone. They have no right to chase us away. The crew leader's face darkened and he looked at me angrily. Boy, do you know who the protagonist of our filming is? He tried to use his status as a big star to pressure me. The male lead of this filming is the top star, Hwang Juinja. Can you take the responsibility for delaying his filming? As soon as he finished speaking, a group of bodyguards suddenly rushed over, dispersing the crowd and clearing a path for a handsome man with heavy makeup. This man was exactly what the crew called the top star. Hwang Juinja is here. Oh my God, my idol. Brother, can you give me an autograph? The fans at the scene suddenly screamed excitedly, and the scene became chaotic in an instant. Hwang Juinja came over and found Ruo Shui and I still in the venue. He frowned impatiently. Why are there still people here? What's going on? Didn't they clear the venue? The person in charge immediately stepped forward and apologized. Mr. Huang, I'm sorry. These two people don't know what's good for them and refuse to leave. We are trying to get them to leave. The person in charge turned to look at me and shouted again. Why don't you take your girlfriend and get out? The time of Huang the Great Star is much more valuable than yours. So, what if it's valuable? This is a public place. You celebrities have no right to chase people away. I responded coldly, not giving him any face at all. Hearing what I said, Hwang Juinja's face darkened and he sneered. You wasted my time, so you should prepare to compensate our crew for their losses. Compensation? I sneered at him. Public places belong to everyone. If you want to film, find a private place. I'm sorry, I won't tolerate this kind of arrogant behavior. Hwang Juinja's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. He immediately turned to his fans and said loudly, Look, there are such unreasonable people in this world. Everyone give us some advice. His fans were instantly excited and stood up for their idol. Who are you to delay our brother Juinja's filming? Go away, don't bother our brother. This kind of person is so disgusting and unreasonable. Hwang Juinja's mouth curled up into a smug smile, which was exactly the effect he wanted. He wanted to use the pressure from fans to force me to leave, to make me retreat in the face of everyone's accusations. He looked at me condescendingly, his tone revealing disdain. So, do you still think we celebrities don't have privileges? I snorted and responded without hesitation. Privilege? In my eyes, celebrities are just ordinary people. Nothing special. Public resources are not your exclusive use. You want to monopolize the venue? Sorry, I won't cooperate. My voice was cold and firm, completely ignoring his crazy fans. Chapter 316. Chen Fan bans a top male star with just one sentence. What does it mean to be a giant in the entertainment industry? Looking at Hwang Juinja, who was like a clown, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Stars have privileges? It's ridiculous to say such a thing. What? Are you jealous of me? If you have the guts, then become a star too. Hwang Juinja actually started to provoke me. He came close to me and taunted me in a low voice. Are you unhappy with me? If you have the guts, just ban me. Bon? His words gave me an idea. This was his own request, so how could I not fulfill it? Without hesitation, I picked up my phone and called a senior executive of Zhongtian Entertainment. As the second largest shareholder of Zhongtian Entertainment, my words undoubtedly carry great weight in the entertainment industry. After the call was connected, I said only 5 words in a cold tone. Ban Hwang Juinja. The other party's reply was very straightforward. Yes, Mr. Chen. After hanging up the phone, I looked at Hwang Juinja calmly. He obviously didn't care, with a mocking smile on his face. Ban me? Just because of you? Why don't you take a piss and look in the mirror to see who you are? The person in charge behind Huang Juan just sneered. Boy, you are so arrogant. You have offended young Master Huang, so just wait for revenge. Block me? Huang Juanja pointed at me, his expression becoming even more frantic. Why, I'm fine now, right? Are you banning me for nothing? However, before he finished speaking, his agent suddenly received a message. After reading it, his eyes widened and his face was filled with shock. Mr. Huang, you've been banned, the agent said in a trembling voice. As soon as the agent said this, the scene fell into a deathly silence. The smile on Huang Juanja's face froze, and everyone else couldn't believe their ears. Are you kidding me? Huang Juanja couldn't believe his ears and asked angrily, how could I be banned? It's true, the agent said with a serious expression, handing the phone to him. After Huang Juanja saw the content on it, his face turned pale. No, I can't be banned. Huang Juanja panicked instantly. He was used to a life of extravagance, and the slightest disturbance would lead to creditors demanding his life. How could he possibly bear such a blow? Mr. Huang, Sister Rong is here, the agent reminded in a low voice. Hearing this, Huang Juanja seemed to have found a life-saving straw. He immediately called the financial sponsor Sister Rong and said in a humble tone, Sister Rong, save me, I don't want to be banned. On the other end of the phone, Sister Rong asked coldly, did you offend some important person? Big shot? No, Huang Juanja said in a panic, but he quickly thought of me, froze for a moment, and looked up at me. Could it be him? Sister Rong, please save me. I really don't want to be banned, Huang Juanja pleaded. However, Sister Rong's answer was ruthless and indifferent. You have offended a top figure in the entertainment industry. I can't save you at all. Huang Juanja completely collapsed, his legs weakened, and he fell to his knees. Just when he was about to despair, Sister Rong added, but you can still follow me. I can support you. Bah! Before Sister Rong could finish her words, her husband suddenly rushed in, kicked the door open, and shouted, how dare you cheat on me and keep a gigolo? Then he started beating her up. I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Sister Rong begged, while Sister Rong's husband turned around and stared at Huang Juanja, furious. You are that pretty boy, right? Just wait. I won't let you go. Huang Juanja was so scared that he was shaking all over, sweat dripping down his forehead, and he was like an ant on a hot pot, extremely panicked. He suddenly rushed towards me as if he had grabbed the last straw, knelt down, kowtowed, and begged. Big man, I was wrong. Please let me go. Don't ban me. Huang Juanja, who was so arrogant just now, was now as humble as dust. His crew leader and other onlookers were all stunned when they saw this scene. Everyone then realized that I was the real big shot. At this moment, they looked at me with awe. Chapter 317 Shin Fan made a request and made Disneyland open exclusively for him. Huang Juanja in front of me was still begging for mercy. He hugged my thighs and was as humble as dust. Big man, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Get lost, I said coldly, showing him no mercy. He was so regretful now. Why didn't he be more careful in what he said and did in the beginning? I looked down at him, a hint of sneer on my lips. You begged me to ban you, and now your dream has come true as you wished. My words were like a sledgehammer, hitting him to pieces. Hearing this, Huang Juanja's face completely lost all color. He finally remembered that he was the one who arrogantly begged me to ban him. At this moment, he regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. The crew leader on the side saw that the situation was not good, and immediately stepped forward to apologize with his head bowed and wasted. Boss, I didn't recognize the great man, and my dog mouth couldn't spit out ivory. Please be magnanimous and forgive us. After saying that, he actually slapped himself hard several times, and his attitude was as low as dust. Take your crew and move away. You are not welcome here, I said coldly, not giving them any more chances. Yes, yes, yes. The person in charge nodded repeatedly, respectfully led his people away in disgrace. At this time, the onlookers finally couldn't help themselves and shouted in unison. Boss, you are so mighty. Boss, you are awesome. Their voices were full of admiration. At this moment, the system's mechanical voice sounded in my mind. Ding! Mission completed. Continue to enjoy the night view here. Counterattack the opponent and make him leave. Congratulations on obtaining 5 of Tiffany Company's shares. The share purchase agreement has been stored in the presidential suite of Jinling Hotel. Please check it. Congratulations on obtaining 131 experience points. I happily accepted the reward. With this 5% stake, I now own 40% of Tiffany Group shares. I only need the last 10.1% to become the largest shareholder of Tiffany Group. I feel confident about my control over the future. I estimate that after one or two more tasks, the person in charge of Tiffany will have to be replaced. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but smile. The night returned to calm, and Ruoxue and I continued to play, enjoying this rare time. The next day, Disneyland turmoil. The next morning, Ruoxue and I went to the famous Disneyland in Hong Kong Island. In order to facilitate the visit, I bought VIP tickets in advance, thinking that I could enter without any obstacles. We played the first game, but when we got to the second game, I found that even VIP tickets required a queue. Looking around, the queue would take at least half an hour. Oh, isn't this our Xia Shihua and Director Chun of the Intercontinental Hotel? Why do we have to queue like ordinary people? A familiar sarcastic voice came. When I looked up, it was Yang Yining. She lost face at the Intercontinental Hotel yesterday, and today she was obviously here to get it back. Director Chun is so awesome, he won't just say his name and skip the line, right? I was too lazy to answer her and took out my phone to make a call. The general manager of Disney Asia Pacific is a senior customer of Patek Philippe, and I happened to be able to contact him. Yang Yining sneered. Pretend this is Disneyland, not your Intercontinental Hotel. Stop daydreaming. Just as she was feeling proud, a group of staff suddenly came out and announced on a loudspeaker. Due to equipment problems, this project needs to be temporarily closed. Please move to other projects. It will not be open today. The tourists left with complaints, but I still stood there, motionless. Seeing this, Yang Yining was even more gloating. Director Chen's call is useless. It seems that the project is closed and you can't play anymore. Before she finished her ridicule, the staff members came towards me and asked respectfully, "Excuse me, are you Mr. Chen fan?" I nodded. "It's me." The staff immediately said, "Mr. Chun, the instructions have been given. Please follow us." After that, they cleared the way for Ruoxue and me and let us into the project. This scene made Yang Yining and her boyfriend dumbfounded. They never expected that I was not driven away, but was personally received by the staff and entered the project area openly. How is this possible? Yang Yining stared blankly at our backs as we left, completely dumbfounded. I walked into the project area without looking back, with a faint smile on my face. Some people are destined to be admired. Chapter 318, 63rd Day of Severing Ties, Reward, an Intermediate Network Enhancement Card. Noticing that Ruoxue and I disappeared from the project, Yang Yining and her boyfriend were struck by lightning. They stood there in a daze, with shock and disbelief written all over their faces. Her boyfriend spoke with difficulty, but didn't know how to express his doubts. I think the so-called maintenance and not open to the public are just an excuse. The real purpose is to let these tourists leave on their own, so that Chun Fan and the others don't have to queue and can enjoy the attractions alone. Yang Yining said, gritting her teeth. She was right. If we were allowed to cut in line, it would inevitably cause dissatisfaction among other VIP ticket holders. However, closing the project for maintenance could easily avoid controversy. For Chun Fan alone, Disneyland would rather stop the project for a day. It's incredible. Yang Yining's voice trembled, and the shock on her face took a long time to dissipate. On the other hand, Ruoxue and I have been playing this project alone. There are only two of us in such a large facility, and the experience is overwhelming. Ruoxue's face was full of smiles with a hint of pride in her eyes. My boyfriend is still the best. After the project was over, the staff arranged other projects for us to play alone. At this moment, the entire Disneyland seemed to be open exclusively for the two of us. Time flies, and at noon, the system's mechanical voice rang in my mind. Ding! 63rd Day of Severing Ties. Rewarded with an Intermediate Network Promotion Card. After using it, you can make friends with a big shot in Hong Kong Island and expand your network of contacts in Hong Kong Island. Seeing the reward, a smile appeared on my lips. Making friends with important people in Hong Kong Island? Interesting. There is no point in keeping this kind of card. The best way is to use it immediately. I opened the system backpack, found the Intermediate Network Enhancement Card, and clicked to use it. Ding! The Intermediate Network Promotion Card has been activated. The host will make friends with a big shot in Hong Kong within 3 hours. As soon as the system notification sounded, I dragged Ruoxue to go have lunch. Just as we were discussing what to eat, a familiar laugh came from a distance. Following the sound, I saw my ex-girlfriend Song Manhwa walking towards us with a group of young men and women. One of the boys, who was wearing custom-made clothes, looked at her with concern. Manhwa, what's wrong? The boy noticed the strange look on Song Manhwa's face and asked curiously. Song Manhwa looked at Ruoshue and me, and her expression gradually became complicated. Then, she raised the corner of her mouth and revealed a sneer. That's my ex-boyfriend, a scumbag with a notorious record. He cheated on me and hooked up with other girls when we were in love. Song Manhwa deliberately raised her voice and put the blame on me. Her words instantly attracted the attention of the people around her, and the boy next to her was even more indignant. What? He's such a person? In order to establish her image in front of this young man, Song Manhwa described me in a disgusting way in one breath and pretended to be pitiful. Manhwa, you're too kind. This kind of scumbag is not worth it at all. The boy was furious, his eyes full of disgust towards me. This boy is none other than Song Manhwa's big brother Meng Xinyan, a son of a wealthy family in Hong Kong. In order to please Song Manhwa, he spent nearly 10 million yuan on gifts in the live broadcast room, and now he is even bringing her to Hong Kong Island for a trip. Mr. Meng, Chun Fan is here now. You have to help Miss Song vent her anger. Several men and women nearby encouraged him. Don't worry, I will never let such a person go. Meng Xinyan snorted coldly, with a hint of cruelty in his eyes. Mr. Meng, don't ruin your mood because of me. He is the boss of a company worth tens of billions, and is not someone you want to mess with. Song Manhwa pretended to be worried, as if she was thinking about Meng Xinyan. Hundreds of billions? Meng Xinyan sneered. What's 100 billion? In the eyes of our Meng family, it's not even a wave. The more he heard Song Manhwa say this, the more he felt that he had to deal with me. Meng Xinyan gave his men a look, and they immediately followed us, seemingly observing my whereabouts. Don't worry, I will make him pay the price, Meng Xinyan said confidently. Song Manhwa's smile became more and more smug. To her, Meng Xinyan was her backer and a tool she used to suppress me. She couldn't wait to see how I would end up being severely punished. Unfortunately, she was destined to be disappointed. Chapter 319, A Special Business Card. A Hong Kong big shot appears. This is Hong Kong Island, Mr. Meng's territory. Everyone was talking about it, and they thought I was finished. Didn't they say I was quite arrogant? I became the president of a billion-dollar group, but compared with Mr. Meng, I am nothing but trash. However, I was too lazy to pay attention to these rumors. After dinner, Xia Ruoshue and I went to a Cantonese restaurant. After dinner, I opened the map and saw that this restaurant was only 10 minutes away from the intercontinental Hong Kong Island. After eating and drinking, it was a good time to take a walk, so Xia Ruoshue and I walked leisurely towards the hotel. On the way, we passed an antique street. My eyes were attracted by the antique stalls on the street, so I looked at them for a few more times. Brother, just take a look. The things I have here are all top quality and genuine. A middle-aged stall owner greeted me enthusiastically. I asked casually, authentic goods? A bunch of Shibei goods? You also call it authentic goods? The stall owner was stunned, obviously not expecting me to know the business. Here comes the expert. He laughed dryly and turned to the shop next door. Since you are an insider, these small things on the stall will definitely not catch your eye. I will go get you the real thing. Heavy weapon? Hearing this word, I became interested. Coincidentally, a grandfather and grandson next to me also heard this sentence, so they came over curiously. A few minutes later, the stall owner came over with a large brocade box and opened it with a mysterious look on his face. Inside was a famille rose porcelain. Qianlong famille rose green ground lotus pattern double phoenix ear vase. The stall owner introduced carefully. He made up a story in all seriousness. This piece of porcelain was taken out from a prince's tomb by a tomb-robbing expert in the country. It was a treasure bestowed upon the prince by Emperor Qianlong. His tone was so serious that people could not help but believe it. As soon as the porcelain appeared, the eyes of the elegant silver-haired old man next to it lit up. I looked at the porcelain with some curiosity, picked it up, and looked at it carefully. The bottom pattern was fine, and the surface craftsmanship was also very delicate. At first glance, it really looked like an official kiln. At this time, the silver-haired old man couldn't help but ask, "Young man, can you let me take a look?" "Sure." I nodded and handed him the porcelain. The old man took the porcelain and even used a magnifying glass to observe it more carefully than I did. "There's nothing wrong with the inscription. It's probably real," the silver-haired old man muttered. Seeing this, the stall owner immediately fanned the flames. "Old sir, this porcelain is worth over 100 million, but I'm in urgent need of money, so I'll sell it for 50 million. The silver-haired old man was obviously moved and turned to ask me, "Young man, do you want to buy it?" I shook my head and said lightly, "If I were you, I wouldn't buy it." "Why?" The silver-haired old man was puzzled. "Because this is a piece of cheap stuff. It's not worth 50 million or even 50,000. I said slowly. The stall owner's face changed when he heard this. "Young man, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand." But I calmly turned the bottom of the porcelain over and continued to explain. The bottom mark is real, but this porcelain is made of old tires and is a Shibai product. The so-called old tire joint is a fake technique that uses a broken genuine bottom and connects it to a new tire. This technique is clever, but it can't fool the top antique appreciation ability I have obtained from the system. When the stall owner heard what I said, he quickly put away the porcelain, obviously feeling guilty. The silver-haired old man said with emotion, "Thank you for your reminder, brother. Otherwise, I would have to pay 50 million tuition fees today." After that, he took out a business card from his pocket and handed it to me respectfully. "Young man, I admire your vision. This is a little token of my appreciation." I took the business card, glanced at it, and my pupil shrank slightly. There was an extraordinary name on this business card. Chapter 320, a top-level license plate with only one digit. "Can you leave without my order?" The business card only had the words Tang printed on it, as well as a contact number and address, without any other identity information. This extremely simple design was very different from ordinary people's business cards. Ordinary people's business cards would always indicate their titles and identities, but this silver-haired old man omitted everything. Next to him, his grandson saw this scene and widened his eyes in surprise. You know, given his grandfather's status, there are very few people in Hong Kong who are qualified to get his business card. But now, this silver-haired old man actually took the initiative to hand me a business card, which is enough to make people stunned. "Thank you for your help, young man. If you have the chance in the future, you are welcome to visit my home." The silver-haired old man said with a hint of sincerity, and he obviously liked me. "You are welcome, old man." I smiled and returned the greeting and took out a business card and handed it to him. This is the second generation of my business card that I have been using recently. The original one was discarded as early as the Jiangzhou period. However, I know in my heart that this second generation of business card will soon be retired. After I become the largest shareholder of Tiffany, I will make an updated version. On the side, the grandson of the silver-haired old man looked disgusted, as if he thought my behavior was ridiculous. Grandpa is such a noble man. How can he just accept a young man's business card? He secretly complained in his heart. Even the silver-haired old man himself was a little surprised, but for politeness, he still took my business card. However, when he looked down at the content of the business card, he was stunned. "What's wrong, Grandpa?" The grandson came over curiously, took the business card and looked at it, and was also completely stunned. My business card simply states my identity in 3 lines. Owner of Patek Philippe, shareholder of Tiffany Group, owner of Koenigsegg. Each identity is very important, especially the first 2, which are not something that ordinary people can possess. In an instant, the attitude of the silver-haired old man changed significantly, and he obviously regarded me as an equal. But he still felt a little regretful. If my business card had another heavyweight company identity, I would be a real big shot. Tang Wenxiu, the grandson, was very excited, especially when he saw the identity of Koenigsegg boss. As a super sports car enthusiast, he couldn't believe his eyes. "Hello, Mr. Chen." The silver-haired old man took the initiative to extend his hand, and his attitude suddenly became a little more humble. "I wonder if Mr. Chen is available tonight, and would you be able to honor me with dinner at my home?" "Okay." I smiled slightly, and I became more and more certain that this Tang Zhou must be the big shot arranged by the system. As for his true identity, I have to wait until I go to his house to find out. "It's a deal, Wenxiu. You go pick up Boss Chen in person tonight." Tang Zhou turned around and told his grandson. Tang Wenxiu was excited and grabbed my hand directly. "Boss Chen, I'm a loyal fan of Koenigsegg." "Hello." I responded calmly, but I felt a little amused in my heart. The other party's excitement was beyond words. After a simple greeting, Xiaorua Shui and I said goodbye and left. Tang Zhou looked at my back and said meaningfully to his grandson, "Young and promising, Boss Chen is definitely not an ordinary person. You should make friends with him." "Don't worry, Grandpa. I will definitely treat Boss Chen as a guest of honor." Tang Wenxiu nodded repeatedly, extremely excited. The two then got into a Rolls-Royce Phantom with a single-digit license plate and left quietly. Xiaorua Shui and I returned to the hotel, took a short rest, and continued our afternoon trip. In the evening, when we finished visiting a scenic spot and were about to leave, we were blocked by a group of people. The leader was a young man with an arrogant look, and there was a familiar face, Song Manyu. Behind him, there was a group of Hong Kong island dandies, which gave them a rather menacing look. "Want to leave?" The young man looked straight at me, his tone full of provocation. "Here, without my order. Can you leave?" His arrogance made me frown slightly. I don't need to ask to know that this man is the legendary Master Meng Xinyan. Chapter 321. Chen Fan's identity as a guest of Hong Kong's top wealthy family was exposed, and everyone was frightened. "Mr. Meng, why don't you just forget it? It's not a good idea to do this." Song Manyu looked like she was dissuading me, and her tone was full of tea. But in Meng Xinyan's eyes, she was caring about him and was very tender, which made him more determined to teach me a lesson. "Dare to be a scumbag? You'll make me pay the price." At this moment, the system prompt sounded in my ears. Ding! Temporary task released. Teach Meng Xinyan a lesson. Let him know what it means that there are always people better than you. Task reward: 7% of Tiffany Group shares, 135 experience points. After hearing the mission, I couldn't help but laugh. This was exactly what I wanted. "I can't leave without your order?" What a big tone. "Do you think this is your territory?" I asked back calmly. "Yes, Hong Kong Island is my territory." Meng Xinyan responded with a sneer, his eyes revealing arrogance. He raised his chin proudly and gave me a choice. Either bow down and apologize to Manyu and send a video to admit that you were a scumbag, or don't even think about leaving easily. Song Manyu next to me had a smug look on her face. She seemed to have already imagined the scene of me bowing my head and admitting my mistakes. "Let me apologize to her?" I sneered. She should be the one to apologize. At the beginning, she knew that I had severed my relationship with the Chin family and broke up with me without hesitation. Now she wants me to apologize? What a joke. "You'll have to drink a penalty if you don't accept my toast." Meng Xinyan's eyes signaled, and the younger brothers around him immediately surrounded me, staring at me covetously. I took a step forward, blocking Xiao Ruoshui behind me, and said calmly, "What if I don't apologize?" "No apology." Meng Xinyan snorted coldly. "Then don't even think about leaving safely today. Even if the King of Heaven comes, he can't save you. Young Master Meng is so mighty." Song Manyu had an admiring look on her face, and her tone was so sweet that it made me want to vomit. However, just as Meng Xinyan finished speaking, a cold voice came from behind him. "Even if the King of Heaven comes, it won't work? What about me?" Meng Xinyan turned around and said with disdain, "Who do you think you are?" Boom! In response, he was hit by a solid flying kick, which made him stagger back. "What are you doing? You dare to hit Master Meng? Don't you want to live?" Song Manyu exclaimed. But when Meng Xinyan raised his fist and wanted to fight back, he suddenly stopped. After seeing who kicked him, his face changed instantly. "Brother Xiao, why are you here?" The one who appeared on the scene was Tang Xiao, the grandson of the grandfather and grandson at noon. At this moment, Meng Xinyan's arrogance had long disappeared, and he turned to flattery. "Brother Xiao, this is just a misunderstanding. Please listen to my explanation." Tang Wenxiu slapped him on the shoulder and sneered. "Xiao Meng, you are so brave that you dare to attack my Tang family's guests?" "Guests?" Meng Xinyan's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and his back felt cold. "That's right. Boss Chun is a guest of our Tang family," Tang Wenxiu said sternly. As soon as the words fell, the whole audience was shocked, and everyone looked at me with disbelief. Meng Xinyan's legs went weak, and he almost knelt down. "Boss Chun, it was really a misunderstanding just now." "Misunderstanding?" I smiled coldly. Wasn't Mr. Meng quite arrogant just now? Meng Xinyan's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and Song Manyu beside him was even more stunned. She couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Meng, what's going on? Why did you bow to him?" "Shut up!" Meng Xinyan roared, and slapped Song Manyu hard in the face, knocking her to the ground. "Brother Xiao, I definitely didn't threaten Boss Chun just now. You have to believe me." "Really?" Tang Wenxiu sneered. "Boss Chun, leave this matter to me." Then he hooked his fingers at Meng Xinyan's younger brothers. "Come here." "Mr. Tang, what do you want me to do?" Several younger brothers asked in a flattering manner. Beat him to death," Tang Wenxiu ordered coldly. Several of the younger brothers were stunned for a moment, but they did not dare to disobey, and rushed forward to punch and kick Meng Xinyan. "Boss Chun, don't pay attention to these little people, please." Tang Wenxiu respectfully invited me to get in the car. The Rolls-Royce Phantom with a single-digit license plate was waiting not far away. I nodded and got in the car with Xiaoruo Shui. The Phantom started slowly and took us away. The only ones left were Meng Xinyan, who had a bruised face, and Song Manyu, who was pale and shocked. At this moment, no matter how slow-witted Song Manyu was, she finally understood that the big tree she had been relying on before was nothing but a joke in front of a real strong man. Chapter 322. The Youngest Billionaire. How many shares of Tiffany Group does Chun Fan have? Is Chun Fan so awesome now? The license plate of the car, just now, only has a single digit. In Hong Kong Island, this kind of license plate means that the owner is an absolutely top-notch big shot, someone that even Meng Xinyan can't afford to offend. But such a big shot personally invited Chun Fan to his home? Song Manyu couldn't believe her eyes. Was Chun Fan's identity already so powerful? This was a class that she would never be able to come into contact with in her entire life, or even 10 lifetimes. But now, Chun Fan not only came into contact with them, but was also actively invited by these people. Song Manyu felt regretful. If she hadn't broken up with Chun Fan, she might have been the one sitting in the luxury car. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She couldn't help but slap herself a few times to vent her anger. On the other side, the Rolls-Royce Phantom drove me slowly into a luxurious villa area on the top of the peak. The price per square meter here is as high as 1 million yuan. The money used to buy a house in many ordinary cities can't even buy 1 square meter here. The Tang family's villa is located in one of the top locations in this area. As soon as I arrived at the Tang family, the system's voice came again. Ding! Mission completed. Teach Meng Xinyan a lesson. Let him know that there is always someone better. Congratulations on getting 7% of Tiffany Group shares. The contract has been placed in your hotel. Please check it. Congratulations on getting 135 experience points. After hearing about the reward, the corners of my mouth slightly raised. With this part of the shares, I already hold 42% of Tiffany Group shares, and I'm only 8% away from becoming the largest shareholder. The system really didn't let me down, and Meng Xinyan, this good guy, unexpectedly helped a lot. If it weren't for his provocation, I wouldn't have been able to gather so many shares so quickly. When I entered the villa, I heard the argument between Mr. Tang and his son Tang Hong. Father, you invited people to your home with a business card and a piece of porcelain. Isn't that inappropriate? Tang Hong asked with some dissatisfaction. The identity on that business card can't be fake. Elder Tang said in a deep voice. Even if it's true, he's just the boss of Patek Philippe. That company is only worth a few billion. This identity shouldn't be something that our Tang family values so much. As for Tiffany's shareholder, the shares he holds are probably only a few tenths of a cent. Although he has a big name, he doesn't have much real power. Tang Hong's tone was full of disdain, and he obviously didn't take me seriously. Don't jump to conclusions. I don't think he's simple. Mr. Tang frowned. Tang Hong wanted to refute, but Mr. Tang raised his hand to stop him. At this time, Xiaoruo Shui and I walked into the living room under the guidance of Tang Wenxiu. Boss Chun. Mr. Tang came forward and shook hands with me enthusiastically. I nodded slightly. Mr. Tang. After a brief greeting, Tang Hong finally couldn't help but speak. I heard that Mr. Chun is a shareholder of Tiffany Group. I wonder how many shares you hold. He smiled, obviously trying to expose my background. Oh, not much, only about 40%. I said lightly. As soon as the voice fell, the smile on Tang Hong's face froze instantly, and the whole room became extremely quiet. Mr. Tang was also stunned. He obviously didn't expect that I actually owned such a huge share. More than 40% means that I control at least more than 40 billion in assets. Including Patek Philippe and Koenigsegg, my net worth has already exceeded 100 billion. A 20-year-old billionaire, the future of this kind of existence is simply immeasurable. Tang Hong was completely stunned, his mouth slightly open, his face full of shock and disbelief. And Mr. Tang nodded slightly. Obviously, his attitude towards me had changed drastically. Boss Chin is really young and promising, amazing, Mr. Tang said with emotion. At this moment, I have completely controlled the situation, and the atmosphere has completely turned to my side. Chapter 323. The Actions of the Zheng Family in Hong Kong, Professional Horse Racing. Tang Hong pinched his thigh subconsciously and felt a pain. He was sure he was not dreaming. Chun Fan in front of him actually owned more than 40% of Tiffany Group shares. This was simply unimaginable to him. At first he thought I was just a small shareholder of Tiffany, maybe only a few percent of the shares. Now that he has discovered the truth, Tang Hong is ashamed and can only admire himself for having made a mistake. Boss Chun is really young and promising. I admire him. Tang Hong took the initiative to bow his head to show his goodwill. Even Mr. Tang nodded approvingly. Boss Chun is a real person who never shows his true colors. The food was served quickly, and several people entered the restaurant to eat and chat, and the atmosphere was much more relaxed. On the other side, Meng Xinyan was bandaged in the hospital. He looked extremely embarrassed, but full of hatred. Chun Fan had the Tang family behind him, so even his father didn't dare to provoke the Tang family easily. But he couldn't swallow this anger, so he began to think about how to retaliate against Chun Fan. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind, and he thought of another top young man in Hong Kong Island, Zheng Kongshi. The Zheng family and the Tang family are in a hostile relationship, and if he joins Zheng Kongshi, he may find a chance for revenge. Thinking of this, Meng Xinyan did not hesitate any longer and went directly to a bar in Hong Kong Island. 40 minutes later, he saw Zheng Kongshi, who was hugging women left and right and looked very happy. "Mr. Meng, how did you end up like this?" Zheng Kongshi was a little surprised to see Meng Xinyan in such a state of humiliation. "Mr. Zheng, you must avenge me." Meng Xinyan knelt down and told the story in tears. At first, Zheng Kongshi had no interest in this and was even a little impatient. But when he heard that the matter involved the Tang family, his eyes immediately became sharp. The old man from the Tang family personally sent someone to pick up Chun Fan? He murmured in a low voice, obviously showing a strong interest in this Chun Fan. "Okay, leave this matter to me." Zheng Kongshi smiled and patted Meng Xinyan on the shoulder, secretly sending someone to investigate Chun Fan's whereabouts. The next morning, Xia Ruoshui and I went to a famous racecourse in Hong Kong Island. Yesterday, Tang Wenxiu arranged a professional race here and invited us to watch it. When we arrived, Tang Wenxiu was already waiting at the door. "Mr. Chun, I'll take you to the upper-level box." He led the way, obviously very familiar with the place. The upper class of Hong Kong Island loves horse racing, and the Tang family has exclusive boxes at major racecourses. These boxes are not rented for money, but given away by the racecourses. This is the influence of the top wealthy families. However, just halfway through, we were stopped by a group of people. "Isn't this Mr. Tang Wenxiu? Why are you here for the horse race today?" Zheng Kongshi, along with Meng Xinyan and others, had a rather unfriendly expression. "Zheng Kongshi, what do you want to do?" Tang Wenxiu frowned, and his tone became more alert. Normally, he didn't care when he met Zheng Kongshi, but today, with Boss Chun present, he must not take it lightly. "What? I just heard that you made a new friend, so I came to meet him." Zheng Kongshi looked at me meaningfully. "This is Boss Chun, right? If you have nothing to do, don't block the way." Tang Wenxiu said coldly, trying to lead me away. But Zheng Kongshi looked provocative and had no intention of giving way. "Don't worry, since we are all here to watch the horse racing, why don't we play a few games?" There was a hint of joking in his tone. "Betting on horses, do you dare to try it?" I thought about it for a moment and nodded calmly. "Okay, since someone brought it to my door, why should I refuse? For the first race, we will each choose a racehorse and see who wins." Zheng Kongshi grinned. "If I lose, I will give you the villa on Big Wave Bay Road in Sheko." The villa area on Big Wave Bay Road in Sheko is one of the top areas in Hong Kong Island, with each square meter worth millions, which is extremely rare. When people heard about his bet, they were shocked and thought it was an exaggeration. Tang Wenxiu whispered to me, "Boss Chun, this guy is a veteran. Be careful not to get cheated." I smiled and said calmly, "It's okay. Trust me. I choose horse number 11. Zheng Kongshi pointed to a sturdy white racehorse with a radiant look. But after I looked around, I chose a number that stunned everyone. Chapter 324. Zheng Kongshi easily got away with more than 6 billion yuan, feeling extremely pained. "I choose number 15. Chun Fan made a decision. Racehorse number 15 has a mixed coat color and looks very ordinary, even a bit bad. The most important thing is that today is the first race for racehorse number 15. Many people placed bets on this horse race. Among them, the most bets were placed on horse number 11 selected by Zheng Kongshi and horse number 7 and 16 selected by Tang Wenxiu. The horse that Chun Fan selected had the least bets in the entire venue because it was the first race, with odds as high as 1 to 30. "Boss Chun, you're not kidding, are you?" Tang Wenxiu didn't quite believe Chun Fan. Some other passersby also started talking about it, thinking that Chun Fan was crazy. "Of course I'm not kidding." Chun Fan nodded. By the way, could you please help me go to the race course and place a bet on horse number 15? Is there a limit on the bet? Chen Fan looked at Tang Wenxiu. Yes, the maximum bet at this racetrack is 100 million. Tang Wenxiu replied. Well, then I'll bet 100 million on the horse race number 15. As he spoke, Chen Fan handed Tang Wenxiu a check. Boss Chen, you should think twice. Tang Wenxiu persuaded. Mr. Tang, Boss Chen has said so, so just go. I see that Boss Chen is so confident. Maybe a miracle will happen? Zheng Kongshi's younger brothers couldn't help but sound sarcastic. As for Zheng Kongshi, he smiled even more brightly, feeling that he had already secured the victory. If Chen Fan had chosen number 7 or number 16, his chances of winning would only be 80 to 90%. However, Chen Fan chose a horse that was competing for the first time and whose bloodline was not pure. Isn't this admitting defeat? As for why Zheng Kongshi was so confident, the reason was very simple. This racecourse was actually the Zheng family's business in secret, but it was a gray area and outsiders did not know about it. Before this horse race, Zheng Kongshi had studied these horses and even secretly let the seeded players compete. In the end, horse number 11 won, so he made the bet so confidently. Okay, I'll place the bet. Tang Wenxiu not dead. When they arrived at the betting place, Tang Wenxiu bet 100 million on Chen Fan. In order not to embarrass Boss Chen, Tang Wenxiu also symbolically bet 10 million. How about I place a bet and give it a try? Xiao Ruoshui looked at Chen Fan. She was definitely looking at Chen Fan. Sure, let's take advantage of this racecourse this time. Chen Fan smiled and nodded. It's a pity that the upper limit is only 100 million. If there was no upper limit, I would be a trillionaire today. Chen Fan spoke with regret. After getting Chen Fan's approval, Xiao Ruoshui quietly slipped away when no one was paying attention and also bet 100 million on the number 15 racehorse. A few minutes later, Xiao Ruoshui came back and the first horse race began. Following the referee's command, more than 20 racehorses rushed out like lightning. At the beginning, horse number 11 was far ahead, several meters faster than the other seeded players. The horse number 15 that Chen Fan selected was only in the middle of the pack. We're sure to win, Zheng Kongshi said confidently. But before he could be happy for long, in the middle of the race, horse number 15 suddenly exerted its strength, overtook more than a dozen horses in a row, and soon came to the 5th position. Moreover, it continued to accelerate, and it was ready to take the first place. Run fast, number 11, the finish line is not far away. Zheng Kongshi shouted loudly. When Zheng Kongshi shouted, horse number 15 overtook 2 places and became 3rd. At this moment, there are only 500 meters left to the finish line. As long as he can hold on for the last 500 meters, he will win this time. Zheng Kongshi was very nervous. 500 meters, 300 meters, 100 meters. Under Zheng Kongshi's nervous gaze, his racehorse number 11 was less than 100 meters away from the finish line and was about to win. Zheng Kongshi was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. But at this most critical moment, horse number 15 suddenly surpassed horse number 11 and reached the finish line first. Horse race number 15 wins. There was an uproar at the scene, and everyone stared blankly ahead. This result was something none of them had expected. Oh, what a pity. If I had known, I would have bet a little more. Tang Wenxiu slapped his forehead hard. He was very happy that the horse number 15 that Boss Chen liked won, but it was a pity that he had only bet 10 million just now. At most, you can get about 300 million. But if he had completely trusted Boss Chen at the beginning and bet 100 million like Boss Chen, he would have received a return of 3 billion. On the high platform, Chen Fan and Xiao Ruoshui showed faint smiles on their faces. They easily got more than 6 billion. Next to them, Zheng Kongshi's face turned pale. Now their villa on Big Wave Bay Road, Sheko, is gone. No, not only that, Chen Fan also bet 100 million yuan on horse race number 15. His family has to give Chen Fan more than 3 billion yuan. Now, Zheng Kongshi felt even more heartbroken. How could this happen? Just when Zheng Kongshi was feeling the pain, his subordinates suddenly came to report to him that Xiao Ruoshui had also bet 100 million. What did you say? Zheng Kongshi was completely confused. He no longer had the calmness and superiority he had just had. In this case, wouldn't their family lose 6 billion? Zheng Kongshi was so angry that he vomited blood. At this moment, he really wanted to scold Chen Fan, but in order not to expose his family's identity as the behind-the-scenes boss of this racecourse, Zheng Kongshi had to swallow his anger. Zheng Kongshi was in even greater pain. Mr. Zheng, Has the transfer book for the villa on Big Wave Bay Road in Shek O been signed? Tang Wenxiu looked at Zheng Kongshi with a smile. After all, he had made a profit. Looking at Tang Wenxiu's smile, it made him more angry than when he killed Zheng Kong. Snort. In the end, Zheng Kongshi signed with a painful look on his face. He didn't want to look at Chen Fan and Tang Wenxiu for even a moment, so he left angrily with his men. Soon, the more than 6 billion won by Chen Fan and Xiaohua Shui arrived in their accounts, but because they won too much, they were banned from betting forever by the racecourse. This is nothing to Chen Fan and his friends. They're just here to have fun and will not stay here for a long time. So just ban it. Anyway, they have got more than 6 billion. Mr. Chen has a really good eye. Tang Wenxiu sighed. Just when Chen Fan was very happy, because he easily obtained billions, another good news came. A good news about the Jinling Su family. Chapter 325 Su Capital Group goes bankrupt. The head of the Su family vomits blood. Chen Fan's men reported that under the leadership of the good-for-nothing Su Shukai, the Jinling Su Capital Group was in complete chaos. Su Capital Group is like a crumbling building. As soon as the wind blows, it will collapse and become ruins. In fact, Su Capital Group originally had a slight chance of survival. That is, Su Shukai took the initiative to ask the Su family for help and allow other forces and assets of the Su family to enter. After all, as one of the top wealthy families in Jinling, the Su family is still very powerful. At the beginning, because he had never come into contact with such a top wealthy family, Chen Fan did not know the strength of the Su family. He roughly estimated that the Su family might have more than 100 billion in assets. But as his net worth grew and the levels of contact became higher, Chen Fan truly understood the strength of these top wealthy families. Chen Fan now estimates that, including gray industries and secret industries abroad, the Su family's assets should be more than 200 billion, or even 300 billion. This is also the reason why Chen Fan was not in a hurry to declare war on the Su family immediately. If he could not completely destroy the Su family in one go and suddenly launched an all-out war, once it was dragged on, it would not be a good thing and would easily lead to changes. If Su Shukai had asked the Su family for help a few days ago, the Su family could still have kept the Su Capital Group. Unfortunately, after finally gaining control of Su Capital Group and having the opportunity to display his abilities, Su Shukai naturally would not ask his family for help. At present, the news within Su Capital Group is firmly suppressed by Su Shukai, and even Mr. Su does not know about it. But this also gave Chen Fan an opportunity. After listening to his subordinates' reports, Chen Fan felt that the time had come. The intermediate bankruptcy card in his system backpack should come into play. That intermediate bankruptcy card could cause a loss of 7 to 10 billion. With this blow, even if Su Shukai asked the Su family for help, it would be too late. Thinking about it, Chen Fan directly clicked into the system and found the intermediate bankruptcy card. Chen Fan clicked on Use. Please enter the name of the bankrupt company. Jinling Su Capital Group. Chen Fan typed without hesitation. Bye. Intermediate bankruptcy card is being activated. After dozens of seconds, the system's voice came again. The successful use of the intermediate bankruptcy card has caused Jinling Su Capital Group to lose 9.8 billion. Oh my god, we lost more than 9.8 billion. That's fine. Chen Fan's eyes lit up. His luck was indeed good. Previously, Chen Fan thought that it was enough to make Su Capital Group lose 70 to 80 billion. Unexpectedly, this time Su Capital Group directly lost more than 9.8 billion yuan, which is close to the limit of intermediate bankruptcy card. This time, Su Capital Group is finished. In Jinling, in Su Capital Group, Su Shukai was busy working anxiously. The company's affairs made him overwhelmed, but Su Shukai refused to admit that there was anything wrong with his ability. So Su Shukai had a good idea. Since the internal problems are difficult to solve, let's unite to deal with Chen Fan and divert the conflicts within the group. He had no way to deal with the company's internal affairs, so he turned his attention to Chen Fan. He felt that Chen Fan was a soft persimmon and was easy to bully. Chen Fan, I didn't expect you to be useful. Su Shukai sneered. But before Su Shukai could give the order, suddenly, one of his newly appointed confidants, who was also a drunkard, rushed in. Oh no, Mr. Su, the company is bankrupt. As soon as he arrived, this confidant brought Su Shukai shocking bad news. What did you say? The company went bankrupt. How is that possible? Su Shukai was a little bit unconvinced. Although the company was facing many internal problems, it could still withstand losses of several billion. How could it suddenly go bankrupt? It didn't make sense. Boss Sue, just now our company was attacked by mysterious international capital and lost nearly 10 billion in one fell swoop. The confidant replied helplessly. No. Su Shukai roared unwillingly. His eyes went dark and his body slumped down in the chair. The company went bankrupt. Su Shukai muttered in a trembling voice. Su Capital Group was one of the important industries of their Su family. Now in his hands, Su Capital Group went bankrupt and their Su family suffered heavy losses. Knowing the news, the old man must have eaten him alive. The more Su Shukai thought about it, the more frightened he became. His face turned pale, as if he were dead. No. Su Shukai didn't dare to imagine what would happen once he returned to the Su family. In the end, Su Shukai gritted his teeth and made a decision that went against his ancestors. Su Shukai suppressed the news of the company's bankruptcy and temporarily prevented the news from reaching the Su family. Then he took away all the remaining assets of the Su Capital Group, took his wife and children, as well as all his property, and headed straight to the airport. When Su Capital Group went bankrupt at the beginning, the Su family did not have too much debt. However, as Su Shukai deliberately suppressed the news and absconded with the money, Su Capital Group suffered more and more losses. When the Su family, especially Old Master Su, learned about this, the debt of Su Capital Group had more than doubled. After hearing this, Old Master Su was so angry that he vomited blood. Puff! Old Master Su suddenly spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. He was furious. With the bankruptcy of Su Capital Group, the Jinling Su family suffered heavy losses. For a while, the entire Su family was in chaos. On the other side, Chun Fan also got the news. Chun Fan couldn't help but smile. The waste Su Shukai that he had chosen did not disappoint him. In the end, he backstabbed the Su family, ran away with the money, and even helped Chun Fan before leaving. He is really a good guy. I didn't expect such a good thing to happen when I was traveling in Hong Kong Island. Chun Fan was in a particularly good mood. Roache and I just won more than 6 billion in a top-notch villa in Hong Kong Island. And then another good thing happened. Today is such a happy day. After coming out of the race course, Tang Wenxiu said goodbye to Chun Fan and the others. Chun Fan and Xiaohua Shui went to a top restaurant in Hong Kong Island that they had never been to before to have dinner. While eating, the system's voice came. Today's rewards have arrived. When Chun Fan saw what today's reward was, his eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 326. Day 64 of Severance of Relationship. Reward. Hong Kong Island's 3 top racecourses. Bye. 64th day after the severance of the relationship, the reward is 100% ownership of one of the 3 top racecourses in Hong Kong Island, Flying Horse Racing, and you will become the new owner of Flying Horse Racing. The acquisition agreement has been placed in your hotel. Please check it. Interesting. Chun Fan happened to be interested in horse racing. Now he turned around, and the system rewarded him with a trip to the Galloping Racecourse, one of the 3 major racecourses in Hong Kong Island. That was great. This morning, when Chun Fan was chatting with Tang Wenxiu, he got a general understanding of the differences between the racecourses. In Hong Kong Island, the 3 major racecourses are the top ones, standing in the first tier. The second tier is the racecourse they went to this morning. The racetrack is actually similar to a money-printing machine. After all, it is related to gambling. This morning, if Chun Fan and Xiaohua Shui had not won more than 6 billion in one go, the daily profit of that racecourse would have been absolutely horrific, and it would have been a huge profit. Moreover, the strength of the racecourse this morning was only in the second tier, not even up to the level of the first tier. It is conceivable how valuable the reward the system gave to me today, the first tier galloping racecourse, is. As long as he holds on to this racecourse, liquid funds will continue to flow into Chun Fan's wallet. Many times, liquid capital is much more important than shares or real estate. There is so much good news today. After lunch, Chun Fan and Xiaohua Shui went to the Feiqi racecourse. Chun Fan wanted to hand over the property to the previous owner of the Feiqi racecourse. Half an hour later, Chun Fan arrived at his destination. The former owner of the Feiqi racecourse had already prepared the handover ceremony. Chun Fan Lai just needs to sign. Witnessed by many employees of the Ferris wheel racecourse, Chun Fan signed and officially became the new boss of the Ferris wheel racecourse. There was intense applause. At the same time, news of a change of owner of the Flying Galloping Racecourse, one of the 3 major racecourses in Hong Kong Island, also spread. Horse racing is a sport loved by the dignitaries of Hong Kong Island's upper-class society. In particular, the change of owner of the Flying Galloping Racecourse, one of the top 3 racecourses in Hong Kong Island, naturally attracted a lot of attention. On the other side, Zheng Kongsher was still smashing things angrily. In just one morning, he lost a top-notch villa and more than 6 billion. What was even more difficult for him to accept was that he lost on his own turf, at his own racetrack. In order not to expose his family's secret industry, Zheng Kongsher could not get angry at the time and could only swallow his anger. He really couldn't swallow this. Master, guess what important news I heard? Just then, the housekeeper came over. What news? Zheng Kongsher asked impatiently. Master, I heard that the Flying Gallop Racecourse, one of the 3 major racecourses in Hong Kong Island, has a new owner, a guy named Chun Fan. The butler replied, Wait a minute. What's the name of the new owner of Galloping Racecourse? Zheng Kongsher became interested instantly. Chun Fan, what's wrong, master? The butler replied, Chun Fan. Zheng Kongsher narrowed his eyes, and his whole body was ready to attack, like a poisonous snake ready to attack. He has an idea. He has lots of ways to cause trouble at the racetrack. Didn't Chun Fan get so many benefits from me? Very good, then I will get the benefits back from his Fei Chi racecourse. By the way, he also wanted to discredit the Ferris Wheelock racecourse and replace it with his own racecourse, making it one of the new 3 major racecourses in Hong Kong Island. It seems like there is a relatively important race at the Galloping Racecourse this afternoon. Thinking of this, Zheng Kongsher didn't even eat and went straight into action. At the Galloping Racecourse, Chun Fan was still touring the racecourse. Especially when Chun Fan heard that there was an important horse race to be held at the racecourse this afternoon, Chun Fan attached great importance to it, as this was the first race after Chun Fan obtained a Galloping Racecourse. You know, there are many people in Hong Kong Island who are eyeing these 3 top racecourses. After all, the profits are too high. These 3 top racecourses are backed by big shots or powerful forces, and no one dares to touch them. But now, the boss of the Fei Chi racecourse has been replaced by a newcomer, Chun Fan. There will definitely be people who are ready to make a move, or even take action immediately. Sure enough, just as Chun Fan had guessed, as the afternoon horse racing time got closer, many dignitaries from Hong Kong Island came. Others came for the purpose of horse racing, but there were a few who had impure motives. After arriving, they directly asked to see Chun Fan. Among these people, the most powerful one is a man named Fan Jingxiang. He's a big shot in Hong Kong and has a strong background. Before, Fan Jingxiang had coveted the Ferris wheel racecourse, but due to the identity of his former boss, he did not dare to take action. But now, hearing that the Ferris wheel racecourse had a new owner, he quickly brought people here to test Chun Fan. I'm sorry, Mr. Fan. Our boss is busy with other things and can't see you alone for the time being. The staff of the Fei Chi racecourse stopped Fan Jingxiang, who wanted to force his way in. Your boss is so honored that you can't see our eldest brother. That's right. Our brother Chong has come in person, and he doesn't come out to greet him. What's wrong with that? Hurry up and get your boss out to meet our brother Chong. Fan Jingxiang's younger brothers shouted arrogantly. Many people around heard the sound and looked over curiously. Fan Jingxiang waved his hand, signaling his brothers to be quiet, and then said in a sarcastic tone, We heard that the Flying Gallop Racecourse had a new owner, so we came here to congratulate them. But this boss Chin refused to see us. Doesn't he take us, who are sincerely congratulating him, seriously? If this makes us feel disappointed, who will come to the racing track in the future? Right from the start, Fan Jingxiang took the moral high ground and attacked Chun Fan. Some guests became agitated after hearing Fan Jingxiang's instigation. For a while, the situation was somewhat out of control. At this critical moment, a faint voice came. Who said I don't take it seriously? The next moment, under the gaze of everyone, Chun Fan walked out calmly. Hello everyone, I'm the new owner of the Fei Chi racecourse, Chun Fan. Welcome everyone to come and play. Chun Fan introduced himself. These guests were all here to give him money, so Chun Fan naturally had to be polite to them. After seeing Chun Fan's appearance, many guests were extremely surprised. They never expected that the new owner of the Ferris wheels racecourse was so young, about the same age as their children or nephews, probably around 20 years old. Fan Jingxiang was also stunned, and then a strange smile appeared on his face. It's too easy to deal with a kid who hasn't even grown all his hair. He seemed to see the goddess of victory waving at him. He is determined to go to the racing track. Chapter 327. Chun Fan has a close relationship with the top wealthy Tang family, bribing the players. Are you the new owner of the Galloping Racecourse? You, the new boss, obviously don't care about those of us who came to congratulate you and made us wait for so long. Fan Jingxiang was making trouble even though he had only waited for a few minutes. No, I was just entertaining guests inside, so I was delayed for a while. Chun Fan explained. Entertaining guests? Those inside are guests, aren't we? Fan Jingxiang continued to lead the pace. Look everyone, the new owner of Galloping Racecourse treats people differently. After hearing this, more guests at the scene felt unhappy. Those who can play here are all rich and powerful people. Usually, they are high and mighty, but now they are being treated differently. Of course, they are not happy about it. Does the guy in there have a special relationship with you? Fan Jingxiang asked. He didn't believe what Chin Fan said and felt that there was no one inside. That's not the case, but the identity of the person inside is indeed very special. Chin Fan answered calmly. Who is that guy inside? Get him out. It's a special identity, ridiculous. Fan Jingxiang shouted arrogantly. He just wanted to embarrass Chun Fan. You're looking for me? As soon as Fan Jingxiang finished speaking, a majestic voice came from the depths. Immediately afterwards, a middle-aged man strode out amid the astonished gazes of everyone. After seeing the appearance of the person who came out clearly, Fan Jingxiang's heart suddenly rose to his throat and his whole body froze, as if he had become a stone sculpture. In an instant, Fan Jingxiang lost his arrogance. He stepped forward respectfully and greeted the important man. Boss Tang, why are you here? Fan Jingxiang asked in a trembling voice. The person who came out was none other than Tang Hong, the son of Mr. Tang, the head of the Tang family, one of the top wealthy families in Hong Kong, and also the father of Tang Wenxiu. Why am I here? Boss Chun is a friend of our Tang family. He just bought the flying horse racing course, so I'm here to congratulate him. Tang Hong replied majestically. What? It turns out that the new owner of the Ferris wheels racecourse has such a powerful background and is actually a friend of the Tang family. Awesome. Moreover, Tang Hong, the next heir of the Tang family, actually came to congratulate him, which further proves that the new owner of Feiqi Racecourse has a close relationship with the Tang family. Everyone was shocked. With this background, who in Hong Kong Island would dare to touch the new owner of the Ferris Wheelock Racecourse? Why? Boss Chun just entertained me inside. Do you have any objection? Tang Hong questioned Fan Jingxiang. No opinion, no opinion. After being glared at by Tang Hongjin, Fan Jingxiang was so frightened that his body trembled and he answered very nervously. Although he is considered a big boss in Hong Kong Island and has thousands of younger brothers, he is nothing in front of the top wealthy family, the Tang family. What about you? Tang Hong glanced at the others. No comment. Neither do I. Everyone shook their heads. Facing Tang Hong's questioning, they naturally didn't dare to say anything. If you don't have any objections, just go to the stands and prepare to watch the horse racing. If you don't want to watch, leave. Tang Hong loudly announced. Boss Chun is a friend of our Tang family. If anyone dares to take over Boss Chun's racing track, they are against our Hong Kong Island Tang family. Tang Hong directly stated his position and stood on Chun Fan's side. Hearing Tang Hong say this, everyone was even more shocked. At the same time, they were also extremely curious about Chun Fan. What kind of identity is Chun Fan? He can make the Tang family, who usually takes a neutral position on many things, take sides directly? I'm sorry, Boss Chun. I spoke too loudly just now. It's my fault. It's my fault. Seeing that the Tang family stood on Chun Fan's side. Even if Fan Jingxiang had some courage, he would not dare to attack the Feiqi racecourse. So he quickly apologized to Chun Fan and quickly left with his men. A trouble was easily resolved by Tang Hong. This is the face of Hong Kong's top wealthy family. Thank you, Mr. Tang. Chun Fan spoke up. Although he could solve the problem himself, since the other party was so polite and offered to help, Chun Fan naturally had to politely thank him. At the same time, Chun Fan's favorability towards the Tang family also increased a lot. Mr. Chun, you are too polite. We are all friends. I dare not say anything else. If Mr. Chun encounters any trouble in Hong Kong Island in the future, you can come to our Tang family. Tang Hong extended an olive branch to Chun Fan. He did this at the instruction of his grandfather. Mr. Tang looked very favorably upon Chun Fan, a young billionaire, and felt that Chun Fan had a promising future. Now, while Mr. Chun is still in the development stage, try to make friends with him as much as possible. Time passed by little, and the game time was getting closer and closer. Just then, a servant of the Tang family came over and whispered something in Tang Hong's ear. Tang Hong's expression changed slightly, and he immediately looked at Chun Fan. Boss Chun, I just got the news that there might be problems with the horse race later. Tang Hong explained to Chun Fan. My people have found out that a mysterious person has bribed several popular players in the competition and also bet on a mid-level player. causing these popular players to play a fake match and deliberately lose to that mid-level player. After listening to this, Chen Fan became serious and immediately asked the staff. As expected, there was a mysterious rich man who bet 300 million in one go on a mid-level player who had little hope of winning the championship. The maximum betting limit at the Galloping Racecourse and the other two top racecourses is 300 million. The key point is that the odds of this player betting by this mysterious rich man are 1 to 17. As long as this mid-level player wins, the racecourse will pay 17 times. That is 5.1 billion. As a result, the Ferris Wheelock racecourse will suffer considerable losses. Boss Chun, the game is about to start in a few minutes. What should we do now? Tang Hong looked at Chen Fan. Now that so many guests have come, it is impossible to cancel the event. If it is canceled, the impact on the Galloping Racecourse will be even greater. Tang Hong was really at his wit's end. At this critical moment, Chun Fan remained calm. He had already come up with an idea. Chapter 328 rewards top fencing skills. Chen Fan's plan is successful. Bye. Mission: prevent the other party's conspiracy from succeeding and prevent that mid-level player from winning. Quest reward: top fencing skills. Task reward: 131 experience points. At the same time, the system's voice came, and a new task had arrived. And this time the system's reward is top-level fencing skills. This is fine. Chen Fan's skills are already very impressive. If he can acquire this top-level fencing skill again and possess even better swordsmanship, he will be even more powerful and his own strength will be even stronger. Leave it to me. Chun Fan smiled mysteriously, and under Tang Hong's surprised gaze, Chen Fan suddenly walked out of the office. A few minutes passed in the blink of an eye, and the contestants gradually got ready. Tang Hong also came outside. When he looked at the contestants, he instantly understood Boss Chen's method. Boss Chen actually appeared on the racetrack, seemingly replacing a horse racer. Now Boss Chun is number 18. Boss Chun is coming in person? Can we win? Tang Hong expressed deep doubt, but he acknowledged that Boss Chun had a powerful status and strong financial resources. But this is professional horse racing now. Even the mid-level players here are strong enough to defeat the strong players outside in seconds. Boss Chun is so young. Even if he has learned horse racing, his level is unlikely to be very high. He felt that Chun Fan's action was very risky. And even if Boss Chun really won and became number 1, it would still be troublesome. Boss Chen's identity is here and will soon be discovered. At that time, those guests who participate in horse racing and place bets will definitely think that Boss Chun is manipulating the game and operating in secret. The guests who come here are all dignitaries. Once these people unite, the public anger they arouse is quite terrifying, and even their Tang family dare not face it easily. In this way, the impact will be even worse. The only solution is for Boss Chun to stop the bribed midstream player, player number 10, but not get a top 3 result, allowing other players to win. This way, you can prevent mid-level players from winning and avoid causing dissatisfaction among other guests, achieving the best of both worlds. But to achieve this, the horse racing skills must be perfect, which is more difficult than coming in first place. Not to mention that Boss Chun is a young man. Even the top horse racing players on the scene may not be able to do it. Now he could only pray and prepare for the worst. Outside the Mercedes-Benz racecourse, in a top-of-the-line business-class luxury car, Zheng Kongsher was staring at a tablet computer in front of him with anticipation. The screen on the tablet computer showed the scene of the competition. The one who played tricks, bribed top players to make fake matches, and sent people to suppress the 300 million yuan was him. He wanted to take back all the money he lost from Chen Fan and double it. Just 2 minutes before the game started, he sent a few more men to bet another 500 million to 600 million. In this way, although the odds have dropped, if he wins, he can at least get back tens of billions. With so much loss in one go, the Ferris Wheelock racecourse is definitely going bankrupt. Not only can he get back what he lost to Chen Fan, he can even make a few billion. How cool is that? Zheng Kongsher looked at the screen with great anticipation. Rubbing his hands together, the 10 billion was already in his pocket. Soon, the race began and more than 20 racehorses rushed out. Suddenly, Zheng Kongsher noticed something strange. Player number 18 on the field looked familiar. Zheng Kongsher widened his eyes, looked carefully, and confirmed that contestant number 18 was Chen Fan. What is Chen Fan doing? Zheng Kongsher was a little confused. It didn't matter if he wasn't good enough. What did it matter if Chen Fan played in person? With his own strength, could he really get first place? Zheng Kongsher had a sarcastic look on his face. On the field, the competition was going on fiercely. When the game was one-third over, the popular players quietly slowed down a little, hoping to let player number 10 overtake. Player number 10 understood and sped up immediately. However, just as he sped up, a racehorse suddenly blocked in front of him, and player number 10 failed in his first chance to overtake. Damn Chun Fan! In the business car, Zheng Kongshi was cursing loudly. He finally understood what Chun Fan was going to do. Most likely, Chun Fan discovered what he had done and wanted to stop contestant number 10. Humph! It just happened suddenly, and contestant number 10 was not prepared. The next time there is a chance, it will be useless even if you try to stop him. Zheng Kongshi snorted coldly. Player number 1 is also very strong, but he just can't compare to those top players. But if he wants to surpass a small Chun Fan, isn't that an easy task? At this moment, Zheng Kongshi still felt that he had a sure win. Soon, the race was halfway through and a turn appeared, bringing the second chance to overtake. The players bribed by Zheng Kongshi quietly slowed down again. With the experience just now, contestant number 10 deliberately avoided Chun Fan and tried to overtake him from a distance. Unfortunately, he had only run a few steps when Chun Fan changed direction and blocked his way. Player number 10 still failed. From this moment on, Chun Fan has been standing in front of contestant number 10, keeping contestant number 10 in the middle. Soon, the competition ended. Chun Fan ranked 15th and contestant number 10 ranked 16th. Oh my god, Boss Chun is such a great horse racing expert. In the stands, Tang Hong exclaimed in amazement. This best solution was really easily accomplished by Boss Chun. At the scene, some customers recognized Chun Fan's identity, but it didn't matter. They bet on the top 3 anyway, and Chun Fan finished in the top 10, so it didn't matter. They just thought that Chun Fan was a boss who loved horse racing, had just bought a racetrack, and wanted to experience the thrill himself, so no one had any objections. The person who was most angry about this incident was Zheng Kongshi. Zheng Kongshi smashed the tablet in anger, and he looked like an erupting volcano. Chun Fan, you deserve to die. You deserve to die. Zheng Kongshi roared. He really didn't expect the result of the game to be like this. In this way, his bet plus the money he used to bribe those horse racers, totaling more than 10 billion, was wasted. Moreover, most of the money was given to Chun Fan's Feiqi racecourse. The several billion lost this morning, plus the 1 billion lost now, almost made Zheng Kongshi explode. He wanted to rush into the racing track and beat Chun Fan up. Unfortunately, due to his identity and the fact that he was operating in secret, he couldn't rush in, so he had to swallow his anger. Zheng Kongshi is now in extreme pain and suffering. On the contrary, in the racecourse, Chun Fan was smiling happily and things were easily handled. At this time, the mechanical voice also sounded in Chun Fan's mind. Chapter 329. Obtain top fencing skills and work in cahoots with each other. Bite. Prevent the opponent's conspiracy from succeeding and prevent the mid-level player from winning. Mission accomplished. Congratulations on obtaining top fencing skills. Congratulations on obtaining 131 experience points. As the mechanical voice came, a huge amount of memory, including muscle memory, poured into Chun Fan's mind. Chun Fan closed his eyes and digested it for a long time before he completely digested the memory. When Chun Fan opened his eyes again, he had become a top swordsmanship master, and his strength had improved again. The mission was completed, he obtained top-level swordsmanship skills, and the crisis was easily resolved. A satisfied smile appeared on Chun Fan's face. Just when all the guests of the scene were paying attention to the results of the game, Chun Fan gave a look to the staff who came to greet him. The other party understood instantly and immediately brought people to control the number 10 player and the bribe-seated players. They're just some small fish and shrimps, but Chun Fan must find out who bribed them to attack his own racing track. Of course, he already had a suspect, but he wasn't 100% sure. Boss Chun is young and promising, but I didn't expect his horse racing skills to be so high. Tang Hong came over and said with emotion, "Billions of things." Chun Fan answered modestly, "Boss Chun, is this level just average? Your horse racing skills are probably comparable to the top horse racers in the country." Tang Hong was filled with emotion. "Boss Chun, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me." Tang Hong had other things to do, so after exchanging a few words of greeting, he left. After Tang Hong left, when no one was paying attention, Chun Fan came to a warehouse at the racecourse. The number 10 contestant and several other seated contestants had been detained there by the racecourse's security personnel. After seeing Chun Fan coming, these horse racers were a little panicked. "Boss, they won't tell me." A security guard stepped forward and reported to Chun Fan in a low voice. Before Chun Fan came, they had already interrogated these horse racers, but they just wouldn't say anything. Boss Chun, I really don't know what you mean. No one really bribed us. These people are still being stubborn. Why don't you tell the truth? How about I invite Mr. Tang Hongdang to confront you face to face? Mr. Tang told me this news. Chun Fan asked coldly. Tang Hong. Tang Hong, the next heir of the Tang family, one of the most powerful families in Hong Kong. Boss Chun, you're not kidding, are you? You know Mr. Tang Hong Tang? Several people were a little bit unconvinced. They were just preparing for the competition and had no idea what was happening outside. What do you mean? Our boss is a friend of the Tang family. Just now, Mr. Tang Hong announced that anyone who goes against our boss is going against the Tang family. A security guard was added. Good friends with the Tang family? Upon hearing this, the faces of these seated players changed drastically. Gulp, gulp. In an instant, they stopped being arrogant and knelt down in front of Chun Fan, begging for mercy, and told Chun Fan everything they knew. This time, Chun Fan was completely certain that it was Zheng Kongshi who was responsible. A cold light flashed in Chun Fan's eyes. Then, Chun Fan walked out of the warehouse and made several phone calls. Outside the Fei Chi racecourse, Zheng Kongshi, sitting in a business car, was furious as he looked at the bustling interior of the racecourse. He really couldn't accept it. In just one day, he lost billions to Chun Fan, which made Chun Fan very happy. He won't be able to sleep until he gets the money back. By the way, when we came here just now, did we see Hong Kong tycoon Fan Jingxiang leaving in disgrace? Zheng Kongshi suddenly thought of the scene he saw when he first arrived. Yes, sir. You have a very good eye. The co-pilot's men answered in the affirmative. Go and investigate what happened to Fan Jingxiang in there now. Zheng Kongshi ordered. His men got out of the car immediately. Zheng Kongshi took one last look at the racing track with a gloomy face and ordered the driver to leave. Time flies, and it's evening in the blink of an eye. In a private room of Hong Kong Island's top restaurant, Zheng Kongshi met Fan Jingxiang, who was very nervous. Mr. Zheng, you are looking for me. After arriving at the box, Fan Jingxiang was very nervous. This morning, he almost offended the wealthy Tang family. Now he dared not offend the Zheng family behind Zheng Kongshi. Sit down, don't be nervous. Zheng Kongshi stood up and personally pulled Fan Jingxiang to sit down. I heard that you had a setback at the flying racecourse this afternoon. You must be resentful of Chun Fan. So, do you want to take revenge? Zheng Kongshi asked. I dare not. I dare not. Fan Jingxiang shook his head repeatedly. To be honest, don't forget what the relationship between our Zheng family and the Tang family is like. Zheng Kongshi said. After being reminded by Zheng Kongshi, Fan Jingxiang suddenly realized. Yes, very much. Fan Jingxiang nodded vigorously. If our Zheng family supports you and helps you fight against the Tang family, can you deal with that Chun Fan? Zheng Kongshi asked. Yes, I'm 100% sure. He is a tourist who has only been in Hong Kong Island for a few days. He is definitely not my opponent. Fan Jingxiang was extremely excited. If the Zheng family can support him and he is not afraid of the Tang family taking action, how could he be afraid of that little guy Chun Fan? Very good, let's cooperate. I will handle the Tang family, and you go deal with Chun Fan and take over the Fei Chi racecourse. In the end, we got the galloping racecourse and split it 70%. Zheng Kongshi explained why he came to see Fan Jingxiang. Zheng Kongshi had his eyes on the Fei Chi racecourse. If he could take over the Fei Chi racecourse, his losses would almost be offset, and in the long run, he would even make a profit. However, due to his status, he cannot take action directly, so he needs a black glove to help him do things. After listening to Zheng Kongshi's words, Fan Jingxiang fell into deep thought. It's a 30% to 70% split, so who gets 30% and who gets 70%? Needless to say, if he can get 30% of the profits from the galloping racecourse, he won't lose out. Good. Fan Jingxiang gritted his teeth and agreed to Zheng Kongshi's request, and the two sides became accomplices. Mr. Zheng, what should we do next? Fan Jingxiang asked, and he completely listened to Zheng Kongshi. I have a plan. Zheng Kongshi called Fan Jingxiang over and introduced his plan in a low voice. Chapter 330, The King is Back. No, he is inviting you into a trap. While the two were plotting, Chun Fan also received a special call. The next morning, Chun Fan came to the Fei Chi racecourse. Although there was no competition today, Chun Fan had just acquired the racecourse and still had some work to do. Outside the Ferris wheels racecourse, in an ordinary-looking black car parked on the side of the road, A man was holding a telescope and staring at Chun Fan carefully. He only took out a walkie-talkie after he was sure that Chun Fan had entered. Boss, the person has gone in. Several kilometers away from the Ferris wheel, Fan Jingxiang was waiting anxiously. Are you sure you saw it with your own eyes? Fan Jingxiang asked cautiously. Boss, I saw it with my own eyes. I am 500% sure. Subordinates report. Very good. Putting down the walkie-talkie, Fan Jingxiang looked at the more than 200 younger brothers behind him who were already ready to go. Brothers, the time has come. After we rush into the Feiqi racecourse, we will beat up anyone we see. In addition, the first team has only one goal, which is to capture Chun Fan, the new owner of Feiqi racecourse. Does everyone understand? Fan Jingxiang issued tasks to his younger brothers. In order to control Chun Fan, he specially selected a dozen of his powerful brothers from among his countless younger brothers. I understand, Brother Chong. I understand, Brother Chong. All the younger brothers spoke up. Walk! With a wave of Fan Jingxiang's hand, a huge convoy set off and soon arrived in front of the Ferris wheel. At this moment, the subordinate who was responsible for keeping watch here came over and reported to Fan Jingxiang that Chun Fan was still inside. Looking at the racing track where he had escaped in a panic yesterday, a smug smile flashed across Fan Jingxiang's face. I am back as the king. Rush! Everyone charge! Fan Jingxiang gave an order, and the next moment, more than 200 of his younger brothers rushed into the racing track with great momentum. During normal times when there are races, there are about 40 to 50 security personnel at the Ferris wheel racetrack. However, when there are no races like today, there are only about 10 to 20 security personnel at the Ferris wheel racetrack. Zheng Kongshi had already investigated everything clearly, not to mention that this time he brought more than 200 younger brothers with him. Even if an accident happened, the number of security personnel inside did not decrease, and he was still in a crushing advantage. After rushing into the Ferris wheel racecourse, Fan Jingxiang's men immediately took action and soon knocked 5 or 6 Ferris wheel racecourse security guards to the ground. The first team, arranged by Fan Jingxiang, immediately ran to the innermost office, trying to kidnap Chun Fan. Fan Jingxiang walked in with a swagger. From now on, this place would be his territory. Yesterday, Chun Fan was showing off, saying that he had the support of the Tang family, and he was so high and mighty that he didn't take himself seriously. Today, he was going to trample Chun Fan under his feet and humiliate him severely. Soon, the first team returned. Did you catch it? Fan Jingxiang looked back. Boss, we didn't find anyone. The members of the first team shook their heads. They did not see Chun Fan in the office or the rooms around the office. Boss, is Chun Fan not in the racecourse? The members of the first team guessed. No, Chun Fan definitely came in, and he definitely didn't go out. I've been guarding here the whole time. The follower answered with confidence. At this time, other subordinates also reported that they did not find Chun Fan. That's strange. Where did Chun Fan go? Fan Jingxiang couldn't figure it out. Chun Fan wasn't a god and couldn't fly or hide in the ground. So how could he just disappear? I heard you were looking for me? Just when Fan Jingxiang was at a loss, a faint voice came. In the distance, on a stand several meters high, Chun Fan's figure appeared. Chun Fan stood on the high platform, with his hands behind his back, looking down at everyone. So that's where you were hiding. Do you think you can escape by hiding in a high place? Fan Jingxiang sneered. As long as Chun Fan was still in the racing track, he was like a turtle in a jar. With more than 200 of them, catching Chun Fan would be like a piece of cake, right? The dozen or so security guards at your racecourse have all been dealt with and are under control. You are now all alone. If you don't want to get beaten up and spend the next year or so in the hospital, sell me the galloping racecourse. Fan Jingxiang spoke. Of course, I won't be stingy, and I won't let you suffer any loss. I'll buy your racing track for 1 million. Fan Jingxiang acted as if it was a fair deal. If we try to seize the Ferris wheelock racecourse without spending a penny, there will definitely be problems in the future. But if he paid the money, then both parties were willing, and it was a normal business transaction. Even if something went wrong, he would have a reason. 1 million to buy my racing track. Standing in the stands, Chun Fan was amused by Fan Jingxiang's words. Not to mention 1 million. Even if it was sold for 5 billion, Chun Fan would still lose money. Why? You are still laughing when you are about to die. The 200 or so brothers behind me won't agree. Fan Jingxiang was extremely arrogant. He already felt that he was the winner and didn't take Chun Fan seriously anymore. Are you so sure you can win? Chun Fan asked back. Of course. Fan Jingxiang nodded. You are the only one left now. No matter how powerful you are or how good your skills are, you can never be a match for my 200 little brothers. Fan Jingxiang answered with great confidence. I am a lonely person. Who said, I am a lonely person? Before Fan Jingxiang could finish his words, Chun Fan suddenly clapped his hands. Pa pa pa. In an instant, the crisp sound spread throughout the entire racing track. Hulala. Suddenly, the gate of the Ferris wheel racecourse was forcibly closed from the outside, and Fan Jingxiang and his brothers were trapped inside the Ferris wheel racecourse. Immediately afterwards, countless men in black appeared from other platforms in the racecourse and from every corner. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded Fan Jingxiang and others. After knowing that it was Zheng Kongshi who was causing trouble in the competition, Chen Fan immediately contacted his own Jiuxiao security group and dispatched more than 100 bodyguards from there, including ordinary bodyguards and 2 bodyguard teams. As luck would have it, the place where Fan Jingxiang and Zheng Kongshi had dinner last night was Chen Fan's restaurant. Chen Fan's people discovered that the two were in collusion and reported it to Chen Fan immediately. In the early hours of the morning, the bodyguards of Jiuxiao Security Group arrived at Chun Fan's racing track. In addition, Chun Fan also called all of the dozens of security personnel at the Ferris wheel. So there was a drama of luring someone into a trap. Now Fan Jingxiang has become his plaything. Now, it's time for the main show to begin. Standing there, looking at Chun Fan's bodyguards, Fan Jingxiang's smile suddenly froze, his face full of disbelief. Chapter 331, Who is the Lonely One? Chun Fan's arrangement. Why are there so many people? How did you search? Fan Jingxiang questioned his subordinates, and they looked at each other in bewilderment. The Hong Kong racecourse is one of the 3 top racecourses in Hong Kong Island, and its area is so huge. Just now, they searched less than 1/10 of the area. They just searched the office building. In such a huge racing track, let alone hiding 200 or 300 people, even if there were 2,000 or 3,000 people, it would take a while to find them. Fan Jingxiang tried to calm himself down, looked around carefully, and then heaved a sigh of relief. Ah, how dare Chen Fan be so arrogant? You don't have many people. He was just startled and a little flustered just now, but after counting carefully, he found that there were no more than 200 people on Chun Fan's side, about the same number as him. When the number of people was about the same, Fan Jingxiang was still very confident. You know, these brothers of his were all battle-hardened, and each of them had pretty good skills. Most of them could easily fight 1 against 2. In this way, he can't be considered a loser. Also, don't expect the Tang family to help you. The Tang family will be held back by the Zheng family. Fan Jingxiang sneered. Today, you are doomed. Fan Jingxiang is still arrogant. You really won't give up until you reach the Yellow River. Chun Fan sneered. He didn't want to look for the Tang family at the beginning, otherwise, it would be easy to get a few hundred helpers from the Tang family. The people from Jiuxiao Security Group are enough to deal with Fan Jingxiang's thugs. Get started. Standing on the high platform, Chun Fan gave an order. In an instant, below the stage, the bodyguards of Jiuxiao Security Group and the security personnel of Feiqi Racecourse all took action. The security personnel of Feiqi Racecourse were also quite powerful. Hit me. Fan Jingxiang gave the same order. In an instant, Chun Fan's men and Fan Jingxiang's men started fighting fiercely. Fan Jingxiang gave a look to a thin man in his 30s next to him. The man instantly understood what the boss meant, so he walked through the crowd nimbly and went straight to Chun Fan. This man is the number 1 general under Fan Jingxiang and also the best master. He is very, very strong and is a well-known master even in the entire Hong Kong Island. Upon noticing someone rushing towards the boss, a member of the Jiuxiao Security Group's special team immediately went to stop the thin man. Unfortunately, even he was no match for the thin man and was quickly defeated and knocked to the ground. Behind him, 2 special team members from Jiuxiao Security Group tried to stop him, but he dealt with them all. 1 person can deal with 3 special teams of Jiuxiao Security Group. This thin man is indeed a very powerful master. After dealing with the people blocking the road, the thin man quickly climbed onto the platform and rushed towards Chun Fan. Chun Fan still stood there calmly. After climbing onto the stands, the thin man carefully glanced around and made sure that Chun Fan was the only one there, and there was no ambush. Then he suddenly jumped and rushed towards Chun Fan. It's over. From a distance, seeing this, a smile appeared on Fan Jingxiang's face. This top thug under his command was his real trump card. Now that he was in power, couldn't he take down a small Chun Fan? Facing the first thug who rushed over, Chun Fan casually picked up a bamboo crutch that was forgotten by the audience on the stands. This crutch is very slender, and in Chun Fan's hand, it seems to have turned into a soft sword. Chun Fan just took this opportunity to test out whether his top-level fencing skills were useful. Bang! With a crisp sound, Chun Fan swung the bamboo cane and hit the thin man's arm hard. Being hit with a bamboo stick is very painful. Even the thin man's face twitched. Bang! 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 Without waiting for the thin man to recover, Chun Fan attacked again with professional means. Soon, the thin man was beaten to a state of disorientation, and his body was covered with bruises. The top level of fencing is quite impressive. Just when the thin man was tired of dealing with Chun Fan's bamboo pole, Chun Fan suddenly came in front of him and kicked him. Boom! The thin man was kicked several meters away by Chun Fan and fell heavily to the ground. Chun Fan's strength, after being amplified by the system, has reached a powerful value. Chun Fan stepped forward and easily subdued the thin man in just a few moves. Below the stage, Fan Jingxiang was confused, wondering if there was anything wrong with his eyes. His biggest trump card, his top thug, was dealt with by Chun Fan, a kid who hadn't even grown all his hair, within 2 or 3 minutes. Incredible. He is incredible. It's okay, it's okay. It's just one of his men who was subdued by Chun Fan. He still has more than 200 subordinates. Fan Jingxiang comforted himself. While comforting her, Fan Jingxiang looked to the side. The next second, Fan Jingxiang was stunned. He saw that his more than 200 younger brothers had been almost subdued by Chun Fan's men, and now only a few were left struggling to survive and hiding everywhere. In the few seconds that Fan Jingxiang was stunned, the rest of his brothers were all knocked to the ground. At this point, all of Fan Jingxiang's subordinates had been dealt with. Who do you think is the lonely one now? On the stage, Chun Fan asked calmly. Fan Jingxiang's expression froze. Before he could answer, Chun Fan's bodyguards from the Zhouxiao security group stepped forward, subdued him, and beat him up. Boss Chun, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. After Fan Jingxiang was brought in front of Chun Fan, he gave an extremely flattering explanation. Misunderstand? Do you think this is a misunderstanding? Chun Fan smiled kindly. Looking at Chun Fan's smile, Fan Jingxiang trembled all over. Boss Chun, it was Zheng Kongsher who asked me to do this. He was the one who encouraged me. Otherwise, even if you gave me some courage, I wouldn't dare to go against you. In order to protect himself, Fan Jingxiang pushed all the responsibility onto Zheng Kongsher. Now there is a chance to redeem yourself by doing meritorious service. Do you want it? Chun Fan spoke meaningfully. Fan Jingxiang is just a tool. Chun Fan's real target is Zheng Kongsher, who is behind Fan Jingxiang. Chun Fan has already thought of a way to deal with Zheng Kongsher, but now he needs Fan Jingxiang's cooperation. I am willing. I am very willing. Boss Chun, please tell me what you want me to do. I will do anything for you. Fan Jingxiang quickly agreed. Chun Fan nodded and then gave the order to Fan Jingxiang. Chapter 332, 65th day after severing ties, completely taking over Tiffany Group. When you contact Zheng Kong, tell him that things here have been settled and ask him to come quickly. Chun Fan ordered. Ah? Fan Jingxiang was stunned at first. Then he immediately realized that Chun Fan wanted to sit back and wait, and let Zheng Kongsher jump into the trap he had prepared. Why? You don't want to? Chun Fan gave a look to the bodyguard of Zhouxiao security group next to him. The bodyguard immediately stepped forward and swung his huge fist at Fan Jingxiang. Ido! Ido! Fan Jingxiang shouted quickly. After hearing these words, the bodyguard's fist stopped less than 10 centimeters away from Fan Jingxiang. By the way, although your goal is to get Zheng Kongsher to come, in order to avoid him getting suspicious, you can't take the initiative to ask him to come. Do you understand? Chun Fan reminded, just in case. Clear. Fan Jingxiang nodded. Chun Fan signaled that he could start. Fan Jingxiang took a deep breath, took out his cell phone, and called Zheng Kongsher. What's going on? On the other side of the phone, Zheng Kongsher was waiting nervously in the villa. As long as Fan Jingxiang's action was successful, the Feiqi racecourse could still change hands. I've taken care of Master Zheng. Although there were some troubles in the process, I still caught Chun Fan. He is in my hands now. Fan Jingxiang answered. Very good, very good. Fan Jingxiang answered excitedly. What should I do now, Mr. Zheng? Should I send this Chun Fan to your villa? Fan Jingxiang followed Chun Fan's instructions and did not take the initiative to ask Zheng Kongsher to come. Forget it. I'll go to the galloping racecourse in person. I have some things to hand over later, so it will be more convenient to go to the galloping racecourse. Zheng Kongsher took the initiative to speak. Okay, I'll be waiting for you. Fan Jingxiang breathed a sigh of relief and hung up the phone. While waiting for Zheng Kong to fall into the trap, a mechanical voice was heard. Bye. 65th day after severing the relationship. Reward. 7 shares of Tiffany Group. The share purchase documents have been placed in your hotel room. Please check them. The system's reward arrived today, and it was exactly the shares of Tiffany Group that Chun Fan had been expecting. With these 7% of shares, Chun Fan immediately owned 49% of Tiffany Group's shares. What a pity! I'm only 1 share away from owning 50% of Tiffany Group. If I can get 1 more share, no, it should be 1 share, I will become the largest shareholder of Tiffany Group. Chun Fan thought with a little regret. Half an hour later, Zheng Kongshi drove his Bugatti supercar slowly into the Mercedes-Benz racecourse. When he came in, he noticed a small detail. The security personnel of the Ferris wheel racecourse had been replaced. Zheng Kongshi was no longer suspicious, so he stepped on the accelerator, came to the middle position of the Ferris wheel racecourse, and got out of the car in a swagger. But the moment he got off the car, he was controlled by Chun Fan's men. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Look carefully at who I am. I am Zheng Kongshi, a descendant of the Zheng family, one of the most powerful families in Hong Kong. How dare you arrest me? Is Fan Jingxiang going to rebel? Zheng Kongshi struggled and yelled. Zheng Kongshi's body was drained by alcohol and sex, and he didn't have much strength at all. A few minutes later, he was taken to the boss's office by the bodyguards of Jiuxiao Security Group. The moment he entered the office, Zheng Kongshi was stunned. Chun Fan, who was supposed to be tied up, was leaning calmly on the boss chair, while Fan Jingxiang was standing beside him timidly and nervously. In an instant, Zheng Kongshi understood everything. You betrayed me? Just wait. I won't let you go. Zheng Kongshi angrily rebuked Fan Jingxiang. Fan Jingxiang lowered his head and dared not speak. Now that you are in the mood to threaten others, why not look at yourself? Chun Fan looked at Zheng Kongshi coldly. Look at me? What's wrong with me? Zheng Kongshi had a look of disdain on his face. Now that things have come to this, I'll tell you the truth. Whether it was yesterday's bribery of the horse racers or today's incident, they were all planned by me. Zheng Kongshi looked fearless. But what can you do to me? I'm a direct descendant of the Zheng family of Hong Kong Island. Do you dare to touch me? Zheng Kongshi looked at Chun Fan with extreme arrogance. Chun Fan was amused. You asked for this. Let him wake up. Chun Fan ordered the bodyguards of Jiuxiao Security Group. The bodyguard stepped forward and started punching and kicking Zheng Kongshi, who usually lived a life of luxury. Zheng Kongshi cried out in pain from the beating. 2 minutes later, the bodyguard stopped. At this moment, Zheng Kongshi's face was bruised and swollen, and he looked in a miserable state. How dare you let your men beat me? Zheng Kongshi looked at Chun Fan. He had a lisp because several of his teeth were knocked out. Our Zheng family will not let you go. Wait till I leave. Zheng Kongshi made some harsh remarks. Wait for you to leave. How can I let you leave so easily? Chun Fan replied coldly. Zheng Kongshi is really too naive. At this moment, the system's voice came again. Bye. Temporary mission released. Zheng Kongshi has caused me so much trouble. The fight just now also damaged some facilities at the racecourse. I want the Zheng family to compensate me. Task reward. 5% of Tiffany Group shares, becoming the largest shareholder and chairman of Tiffany Group. Task reward. 131 experience points. Huh. Looking at the task that suddenly appeared, Chun Fan's eyes lit up. The system is really considerate. I was feeling regretful just now because I was just a few percent away from becoming the largest shareholder of Tiffany Group and owning more than 50% of Tiffany Group shares. As a result, less than an hour later, the system issued a task, and the reward was Tiffany Group shares, and it was 5. Now, as long as he completes the task, Chun Fan will not only become the first shareholder of Tiffany Group, but also the new chairman of Tiffany Group, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. What do you mean? After listening to Chun Fan, Zheng Kongshi became even more nervous. The fight just now and the horse race yesterday have caused considerable damage to our flying, galloping racecourse. You have to compensate for it. Chun Fan spoke. Compensation, you still want it? Zheng Kongshi sneered. Chun Fan's bodyguard stepped forward, stabbing him. Zheng Kongshi immediately became timid. How much do you want? Zheng Kongshi asked. The next second, Chun Fan said a number that almost made Zheng Kongshi jump up in shock. Chapter 333 Chun Fan's Conditions. A slap in the face of Hong Kong's top wealthy families. I don't ask for much. Just 5 billion for the loss of our racecourse and our mental damages. Chun Fan said kindly. How much do you want? 5 billion. Zheng Kongsher widened his eyes, unable to believe what he heard. 5 billion? Are you crazy? Why? You think it's too little? If you think it's too little and want to give 6 billion, then I won't mind. Chen Fan shrugged. Ah, are you dreaming? Returning 5 billion is impossible. Zheng Kongsher looked determined. If he had to compensate Chen Fan another 5 billion, then their Zheng family would have lost at least tens of billions at Chen Fan's hands. Impossible. That's fine. As long as the money doesn't arrive, you won't be able to leave the galloping racecourse. Chen Fan spoke domineeringly. Chen Fan, are you crazy? How about this? I'll give you 500 million as a token of my appreciation, and let's just leave it at that. Zheng Kongsher wanted to bargain with Chen Fan. This matter is non-negotiable. Chen Fan replied indifferently, having caused so much trouble for himself. How could Chen Fan let Zheng Kongsher leave so easily without making the Zheng family pay the price? Chen Fan gave a look to the bodyguards next to him, and they immediately understood, so they lifted Zheng Kongsher up and carried him towards the warehouse in the distance. Don't, everything is easy to talk about. Everything is easy to talk about. Zheng Kongsher suddenly panicked. Who knows what will happen if they put him in the warehouse? You know, there are a lot of boys in Hong Kong who like boys. I only have about 1 billion yuan on me right now, which is not enough to give you. How about this? I call my father and ask him to personally send the money over. Is that okay? Zheng Kongsher looked at Chen Fan. Chen Fan nodded. When Zheng Kong saw that Chen Fan agreed, he couldn't help but feel sarcastic in his heart. This Chen guy is still young, so what? He got fooled. He didn't want to call his father, but he didn't want his father to send money. Instead, he wanted his father to bring people to help him solve the problem and teach Chen Fan a lesson. Zheng Kongsher took out his cell phone, made a call, and gave a general account of the situation here. What? They detained you, and they want 5 billion. Zheng Kongsher's father, Zheng Nanlin, frowned. In Hong Kong Island, there were actually people who dared to go against the Zheng family. What's more important, the other party was not one of the other top wealthy families in Hong Kong Island. It was really hard to imagine. Father, he wants 5 billion. You must send the money. Please. Father, do you understand what I mean? Finally, Zheng Kongsher added something meaningful. After all, he couldn't tell Chen Fan his true intentions in front of him. Understood, you bastard. Once this matter is resolved, I will teach you a lesson. Zheng Nanlin snorted coldly and felt even more disgusted with this useless son. Afterwards, Zheng Nanlin called on some of the Zheng family's bodyguards and headed towards the Feiqi racecourse in a mighty manner. He wanted to see who on earth was this person who dared to go against the Zheng family and detain their family members. Didn't he want to live? More than 20 minutes later, a top-of-the-line business-class luxury car arrived at the Ferris wheel first. But the people who got out of the car were not Zheng Nanlin, but Tang Hong and Tang Wenxiu, father and son from the Tang family. They heard about the galloping racecourse and rushed over immediately, especially after seeing Zheng Kongsher being controlled by Chen Fan. Tang Wenxiu admired Chen Fan even more. As expected, he is brother Fan. He is so awesome that he even dared to deduct it from Zheng Kongsher. This is something that even he doesn't dare to do. After Tang Hong glanced at Zheng Kongsher, his expression became a little solemn. He walked up and had a brief chat with Chen Fan. Mr. Chen, the risk of doing this is too great. Why don't you listen to Zheng Kongsher and ask for less loss and let him go? After thinking about it, Tang Hong suggested. Although the Tang family and the Zheng family are sworn enemies, both families target each other secretly and do not cause trouble openly. Moreover, for top wealthy families like them, face is more important than anything else. Now Chen Fan has detained Zheng Kongsher and asked Zheng Nanlin to pay the money. Isn't this a slap in the face of the Zheng family? The Zheng family will definitely not give up easily. If the Zheng family is completely annoyed, there will be trouble. It's okay. If anything goes wrong, I'll be responsible. Chen Fan spoke calmly, still feeling confident. What's more, he still had a mission to complete. As long as he completed this mission, he would not only become Tiffany's largest shareholder, but also gain more than 130 experience points. At present, Chen Fan's accumulated experience points are about to break through and upgrade to the third-level system. These more than 130 experience points are also very important. Just when Tang Hong was trying to persuade Chen Fan, a huge convoy drove into the racing track. The Zheng family has arrived. Chapter 334. A call from the top management of the Trillion Group shocked Zheng Nanlin. The convoy stopped, and the driver, wearing white gloves, quickly got out of the car, came to the back, bent over, and opened the door respectfully. An extremely dignified middle-aged man strode out of the car. At the same time, The Zheng family bodyguards in the other car also quickly got out and stood on both sides of the road, bending down and bowing, waiting for the middle-aged man. This Zheng family always makes such a big show every time. If you don't know them, you would think that the Zheng family is the richest family in Hong Kong Island. Seeing this, Tang Hong in the distance couldn't help but complain. When he and his son came just now, there were only the two of them and a few bodyguards. But this guy Zheng Nanlin always brings dozens of bodyguards with him every time he travels, which is very ostentatious. Chun Fan, my father is here. You are finished. Seeing his father and his backer coming, Zheng Kongsher no longer pretended and shouted at Chun Fan directly and wantonly. You still want 5 billion? I don't even have 50 bucks for you. Just wait for my father to punish you, ah. Bang! But before Zheng Kongsher could finish his words, the bodyguard, at the instruction of Chun Fan, gave him a big slap. A huge red slap mark suddenly appeared on Zheng Kongsher's face. Ah! Zheng Kongsher screamed in pain. In the distance, Zheng Nanlin, who was walking towards this side, was stunned, beating his son in front of him. This Chin man must be fed up with life. Zheng Nanlin's face looked extremely ugly, and he quickened his pace as he walked towards Chin Fan. Father, this kid dared to hit me and detain me. You have to take charge of this for me. After Zheng Nanlin came over, Zheng Kongsher kept asking for help. Tang Hong? Zheng Nanlin did not respond to his son, but looked at Tang Hong. Are you, the Tang family, trying to provoke our Zheng family? Zheng Kongsher questioned. He subconsciously thought that Chun Fan dared to do this at the instigation of the Tang family, and that the Tang family wanted to increase their opposition to them. You are wrong. The one who provoked you is your son. Chun Fan spoke. Your son was at the horse race yesterday. After Chun Fan finished speaking, a senior executive of the Feiqi racecourse explained to Zheng Nanlin. After listening to this, Zheng Nanlin became furious. This prodigal son took the initiative to cause trouble for him. If you hadn't detained my son, the Zheng family could still afford the 5 billion yuan compensation. But since you detained my son, the nature of this matter has changed. Zheng Nanlin stared at Chun Fan without any intention of lowering his head. You are provoking our Zheng family, and the pressure of our Zheng family will never allow anyone to provoke us. Who are you? Who are our Zheng family? If you want us to bow down, dream on. Zheng Nanlin spoke in an extremely arrogant manner, not taking Chun Fan, the owner of the small Feiqi racecourse, seriously at all. Zheng Nanlin, why are you so arrogant? Boss Chen's status is not necessarily weaker than your Zheng family. Tang Hong couldn't help but refute. Oh, who is he? He is just the owner of a racing track. What else is there? Zheng Nanlin asked contemptuously. Boss Chun is a shareholder of Tiffany Group and also the owner of Patek Philippe. Tang Hong replied. Zheng Nanlin frowned. The boss of Patek Philippe was nothing special. The market value of Patek Philippe was only a few billion. What was important was the Tiffany Group. Although the market value of Tiffany Group is not large, only about 100 billion. The problem is that there is a behemoth behind Tiffany Group, the Louis Vuitton Group, which ranks first in the world's luxury goods industry. You know, Tiffany Group is a brand under the Louis Vuitton Group. This guy is actually a shareholder of Tiffany Group. Could he be related to Louis Vuitton Group? So what? Zheng Nanlin was tough on the outside, but his attitude had softened significantly. At this moment, he still didn't believe that Chun Fan was a shareholder of Tiffany Group. Taking a step back, even if he was, he probably couldn't be an important shareholder and have any connection with Louis Vuitton Group. What is LVMH? It is a behemoth with a market value of over 1 trillion. How can this guy be related to LVMH? Is he worthy? Today, if you don't take the initiative to release Kongsher, then you are at odds with our Zheng family. Zheng Nanlin made harsh remarks. Before Zheng Nanlin could finish his harsh words, a staff member from the Feiqi racecourse suddenly trotted over. Boss, there's a call for you. From a distance, the staff member shouted loudly to Chun Fan. Telephone? Chun Fan was stunned. He forgot his cell phone at the hotel this morning and didn't even take it with him. How could he have his own phone number? Who's calling? Chun Fan asked subconsciously. The other party claimed to be Hamilton Pollitt, the vice president of the Louis Vuitton Group. The staff member answered nervously. As soon as the staff member said this, it immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the audience. The vice president of LVMH, the trillion-dollar behemoth? They must have heard it right. Zheng Nanlin was especially shocked. Are you kidding me? Would the vice president of Louis Vuitton Group take the initiative to contact Chun Fan? No, it must be fake. Chun Fan must be fooling me. Even Chun Fan was extremely surprised, as he did not know the vice president of the Louis Vuitton Group. Chun Fan had no choice but to answer the phone. Chun Fan greeted the other party in English. "Oh, is this Director Chin? Hello, I am Hamilton Pollitt, the vice president of Louis Vuitton Group." The other party takes the initiative to introduce themselves. "I just called you, and your girlfriend answered the phone. She told me that you forgot to bring your phone, and gave me the contact information here." Hamilton Pollitt told Chun Fan the whole story. Chun Fan understood immediately. But what surprised Chun Fan now was why the vice president of Louis Vuitton Group contacted him. The next second, Hamilton Pollitt went straight to the point. "Mr. Chun, I represent the Louis Vuitton Group. I have something I want to talk to you about." Now, Chun Fan became even more curious. What on earth did the other party want to do with him? Chapter 335. Hong Kong's top wealthy families bowed their heads. What Chun Fan had planned before. First of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Chun on becoming the second largest shareholder of our Tiffany Group. I hope we can have a pleasant cooperation in the future. At first, Hamilton Pollitt was a little polite before getting straight to the point. As far as I remember, Mr. Chin's stake in Tiffany Group has reached more than 40%. I wonder if Mr. Chun is not interested in continuing to acquire some of Tiffany Group's shares? If there is, we can discuss it, and the price is negotiable. Hamilton Pollitt explained that the LVMH Group was actually planning to sell its shares in the Tiffany Group. Chun Fan was a little confused by this sudden question. Of course, Chun Fan was interested in acquiring other shares of Tiffany Group, and his interest was quite strong. But if he wants to buy it with money, that wouldn't be a good idea, as he only has about 20 to 30 billion in liquid funds. If I buy all the shares of Tiffany Group in one go and don't have enough liquidity, what should I do if I run into trouble? More importantly, the system would sometimes reward him with shares of Tiffany Group, as well as rewards for tasks. Chun Fan could get shares of Tiffany Group without spending any money. Why buy now? I know this happened a little suddenly. Mr. Chun, you can think about it. If you have made a decision, you can contact me. This number is my private number. Hamilton Pollitt understood that the matter happened too suddenly, and he was not in a hurry for Chun Fan to make a decision. After talking to Chun Fan for a few more words, Hamilton Pollitt hung up the phone. "Mr. Chun, the call just now was?" Tang Hong asked. Even he didn't dare to believe it. "It's Mr. Hamilton Pollitt, vice president of the Louis Vuitton Group." Chun Fan replied. It really was a call from the vice president of the Louis Vuitton Group, a company with a market value of over $1 trillion. Wow, that's impressive. Beside him, Zheng Nanlin's expression also didn't look so good. Chun Fan easily said the name of the vice president of Louis Vuitton Group, and it didn't sound fake. This is bad. Chun Fan's relationship with Louis Vuitton Group must be complicated, as the vice president of Louis Vuitton Group could call him personally. If this is the case, it would be difficult for them to offend Chun Fan. Zheng Nanlin was a little shaken and wanted to agree to Chun Fan. "Father, you can't agree to him. We are the great Zheng family of Hong Kong Island. If we give compensation to a 20-year-old boy, how will our Zheng family save our reputation if it gets out?" Zheng Kongshi asked unwillingly. Zheng Kongshi said this originally in order to let his father deal with Chun Fan in order to avenge himself. However, the actual result was completely different from what Zheng Kongshi wanted. "Okay, I promise to compensate Mr. Chun 5 billion. Zheng Nanlin, who was originally hesitant, immediately agreed after listening to his son. If his son hadn't said it, he would have almost overlooked Chun Fan's age. Yes, Chun Fan looked to be around 20 years old, at most 22 or 23 years old. Such a young guy has connection with the Louis Vuitton Group. It is impossible that Chun Fan has no background. Father can't do it." When Zheng Kongshi saw that his father agreed, he yelled in dissatisfaction. "Just shut up. I'll punish you according to the family rules when we get back." Zheng Nanlin scolded his son angrily. Family discipline? Hearing these 4 words, Zheng Kongshi almost felt dizzy and fainted from fright. The family rules of their Zheng family were very strict. If he lost face for the family, they would definitely impose the strictest family rules on him. "No," Zheng Kongshi pleaded in pain. The moment Zheng Kongshi agreed, the system's voice came. "Bite. Zheng Kongshi has caused me so much trouble. The fight just now also damaged some facilities at the racecourse. I want the Zheng family to compensate me. Mission accomplished. Congratulations on obtaining 5% of Tiffany Group shares, becoming the largest shareholder and chairman of Tiffany Group. The share purchase contract has been placed in your study. Please check it. Congratulations on obtaining 131 experience points." The mission was completed, and Chun Fan successfully obtained 5% of Tiffany Group shares. So far, Chun Fan alone owned 54% of Tiffany Group shares, officially becoming the largest shareholder of Tiffany Group and the new chairman. A faint smile appeared on Chun Fan's face. Zheng Nanlin stepped forward and arranged for someone to transfer $5 billion to Chun Fan. The money arrived soon. Okay, you can leave now. Chun Fan ordered them to leave. Zheng Nanlin nodded. He had just taken a few steps, but he couldn't help but turn his head. Mr. Chun, there is something that we are not comfortable asking. What is your position in Tiffany Group? He was really puzzled. I'm the largest shareholder and new chairman of Tiffany Group. Chun Fan answered casually. What? Tiffany Group's largest shareholder and new chairman? Zheng Nanlin's expression suddenly changed, and he stared at Chun Fan with great seriousness. In his impression, Tiffany Group was acquired by Louis Vuitton Group a few years ago, and the controlling rights and the highest position of chairman must be in the hands of Louis Vuitton Group. As a result, Chun Fan became the president of Tiffany Group and its largest shareholder. The fact that LVMH has not objected speaks volumes. Awesome. Mr. Chun, my son is really useless. I'm sorry for what happened before. I will teach him a lesson when I get back. Zheng Nanlin apologized very humbly, and his attitude had changed drastically from when he first came. Chun Fan didn't say anything. Afterwards, Zheng Nanlin grabbed Zheng Kongshi's ear and forcibly took Zheng Kongshi away. As the Zheng family members left, the scene suddenly became much quieter. We originally wanted to help Mr. Chun and see if we could solve the Zheng family's problem. But we didn't expect that in the end, we didn't help at all, and Mr. Chun solved the problem himself. Tang Hong looked at Chun Fan. You know, given the Zheng family's arrogance, asking them to pay 5 billion yuan in compensation and bow their heads is almost impossible, especially the latter, which is something that even the Tang family could never do. But today, Mr. Chun did it. Fortunately, Mr. Chun has connections with the giant Louis Vuitton Group. Otherwise, things would be very troublesome. I appreciate Mr. Tang's kindness. Chun Fan spoke up. When they heard that he had something to do, they came to help him without him having to ask. Chun Fan remembered this friendship. Chun Fan never showed mercy to his enemies, but he was very good to his friends. In half a day, not only did he become the new president of Tiffany Group, but he also easily got 5 billion. Chun Fan was in a very good mood. After chatting for a while, the Tang father and son left. After sending them away, Chun Fan prepared to do something he had planned before. Chapter 336, Severance of Relationship, Day 66, Becoming President of Intercontinental Hotels Group, Asia Pacific. That's the chief jewelry designer of Tiffany Group. It's time to change him. Chun Fan cannot stay in a company for a long time, so he needs more obedient employees. Those disobedient employees can be fired. For example, the former chief jewelry designer of Tiffany Group had average abilities and did not obey orders. What was the point of Chun Fan hiring such a person at a high price? Before, Chun Fan was not the chairman of Tiffany Group, so it didn't matter. But now that he is the chairman of Tiffany Group and the largest shareholder, things are different. Since this concerns the future development of Tiffany Group, Chun Fan naturally has to pay attention to it. Of course, Chun Fan will not let the chief designer leave immediately. Chun Fan's plan is to let Xiao Ruyan enter the Tiffany Group headquarters first, familiarize herself with the work, and then replace the chief jewelry designer. After all, if the chief jewelry designer was replaced immediately, Xiao Ruyan had no experience, and it would greatly delay the progress of the work. In order to cooperate with Xiao Ruyan and to gain control of Tiffany Group more quickly, in addition to Xiao Ruyan, Chun Fan also planned to have the talent he had recruited, Zhu Lingyu, go to work at the headquarters of Tiffany Group. Xiao Ruyan and Zhu Lingyu were once alumni and good friends. If there are any problems in the future, they can cooperate with each other and help each other. Thinking about this, Chun Fan contacted the Human Resources Department of Tiffany Group and arranged jobs for Xiao Ruyan and Zhu Lingyu first. Afterwards, Chun Fan called Zhu Lingyu and explained the situation to her. I understand, boss. Don't worry. After I go to Tiffany Group, I will definitely achieve certain results as soon as possible and will not let you down. Zhu Lingyu assured Chun Fan. In addition to gaining a firm foothold in Tiffany Group, you will also need to help your senior sister Xiao Ruyan. Chun Fan warned. Okay, boss. Zhu Lingyu took note. Afterwards, Chun Fan contacted Xiao Ruyan again, assigned her the task, and asked her to prepare to go to the Tiffany Group headquarters abroad with Zhu Lingyu. Thank you, boss, for your cultivation. After understanding what Chun Fan meant, Xiao Ruyan was extremely excited, and at the same time, she also felt extremely towards Chun Fan. It's great to have a boss like this. After finishing all this, it was already noon. Bye. 66th day of severance, rewarded with 6 shares of Intercontinental Hotels Group, and became the president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific. The system reward arrived today. In an instant, Chun Fan's shares in Intercontinental Hotels Group reached 18. At the same time, he also became the president of Intercontinental Hotels Group in the Asia Pacific region, and the actual controller. Chun Fan's power in the Intercontinental Hotels Group has increased a lot. After leaving the Ferris wheels racecourse, Chun Fan returned to the hotel, met up with Xiaorua Shui, and went to have lunch together. After dinner, the two went to visit other attractions in Hong Kong Island. In the evening, Chun Fan took Xiaorua Shui to the Tang family. Before leaving this morning, Tang Hong specially and sincerely invited Chun Fan to a dinner at Tang's house, and Chun Fan agreed. When Chun Fan arrived, a foreign man was visiting the Tang family. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Chun. I originally wanted to invite you and Miss Xia tonight, but I didn't expect Mr. Atwood to come visit suddenly." Tang Hong came over to welcome Chun Fan, and then said apologetically, "No problem." Chun Fan waved his hand. Then he and Xiaorua Shui were invited in. On the other side, Atwood was chatting with Mr. Tang. When Mr. Tang saw Chun Fan, he stood up politely and shook hands with Chun Fan. Atwood glanced at Chun Fan, still sitting there leisurely, completely ignoring Chun Fan. "Mr. Chun, please wait a moment. The dinner will start in a moment." Mr. Tang exchanged greetings with Chun Fan. "Mr. Tang, let's continue our conversation. We are talking about important matters. Don't be disturbed by other irrelevant people." Atwood spoke to Mr. Tang in very poor Daxia dialect. "Please." Mr. Tang invited Chun Fan and Xiaorua Shui to sit down, then looked at Atwood. "Mr. Tang, in the next 5 years, we plan to build 6 hotels in several other major cities in Daxia, with a total investment of more than 30 billion. Atwood introduced to Mr. Tang. "And now we're looking for the right real estate developer to partner with. You also know that there are too many real estate developers in Daxia, and many of them are unreliable. We want to find a partner who is capable and reliable." Atwood hinted at Don. The Tang family is also engaged in the real estate industry. Some residential areas in Hong Kong Island were built by the Tang family. Hotel? After sitting down, Chun Fan was also somewhat attracted by the other party's words. Now he is the president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific and the 3rd largest shareholder. Since this guy said he would build several hotels and would invest more than 30 billion, they must be top-notch 5-star hotels. In this way, they are very likely to be the rival of their Intercontinental hotels. How could Chun Fan not pay attention? This guy is probably a senior executive of a hotel company. "Mr. Atwood, our Tang family is the best choice. Our strength is obvious to all. Your company will entrust the construction of these hotels to our Tang family. We, the Tang family, will definitely satisfy you," Mr. Tang immediately said with a smile. There is no need to say much about the strength of the Tang family. However, many real estate companies have already found us and want to cooperate with us. Atwood looked embarrassed. "Of course I intend to cooperate with the Tang family, but other senior executives of the company seem to prefer other companies. If I just tell them this, they may not agree with me, so..." Atwood hinted to Mr. Tang that he should give him some benefits. The purpose of his initiative to visit the Tang family this time was naturally to get some benefits from the Tang family. Next to him, Chun Fan also understood what this foreigner was thinking and felt deeply moved. People who openly seek benefits are somewhat hateful. I don't know which company has such senior executives. "No problem, Mr. Atwood, rest assured. I will not let you help me for nothing. Let me tell you this. I have 100 million here. Mr. Atwood, please take it and help me manage it." Mr. Tang spoke up and handed Atwood a bank card. After all, the two parties have not yet reached a formal cooperation, so it is impossible for him to give a lot at once. In fact, giving a benefit of 100 million at the beginning is not a small amount. However, Atwood just glanced at the bank card that Mr. Tang took out and did not reach out to take it. "Master Tang, this matter is not easy to handle." Atwood spoke awkwardly, and it was obvious that he meant 100 million was not enough. "I really want to cooperate with the Tang family. This is also for the good of our company and for the benefit of our company." Atwood said a lot of things, saying that he was doing this for the good of the company, and he looked extremely hypocritical. Chun Fan hated this even more. Just when Chun Fan was about to stop listening to this guy, Atwood's next words immediately made Chun Fan's heart run wild, and he was in a mess. Chapter 337. Acting recklessly under the banner of Chun Fan. Important situation of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Don't worry, Mr. Chin. The investment amount of our Intercontinental Hotels Group project will definitely not be small. The Tang family will make a profit. In order to get Mr. Tang to give out more benefits, Atwood deliberately hinted to the other party. Originally, he said this to Mr. Tang, but the one who was really shocked was Chun Fan. What? This guy is from the Intercontinental Hotels Group, and he is most likely a senior executive in the Asia-Pacific region of the Intercontinental Hotels Group. After all this time, I found out that this scum is from my own company. Before, Chun Fan felt a little regretful and wondered which company this guy worked for. Result? Chun Fan's face looked grim. Atwood didn't pay any attention to Chun Fan at all and continued to blackmail Mr. Tang. This amount of money is only enough to take care of a few other senior executives, but it is not enough to take care of several vice presidents or even the president of Intercontinental Hotels Group in the Asia-Pacific region. Atwood explained to Mr. Tang sincerely, as long as we take care of these vice presidents, and most importantly, the president of the Asia-Pacific region of Intercontinental Hotels Group, the construction tasks of the remaining hotels will be handed over to your Tang family. Mr. Tang's expression became serious. Will you charge money for this level? It is not news that subordinates secretly accept money. But would the president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific and the controller of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific accept money? Mr. Tang expressed deep doubt. Can he charge money? Please remove the word can. He is really good at it. Atwood looked as if Mr. Tang didn't know anything. I am the confidant of our Asia Pacific president. I know a lot about him. Our president is a person who likes money very much. As long as the money is in place, everything will be fine. Standing by, I heard Atwood actually using his name to cheat and ask for benefits. Chun Fan's face looked extremely ugly. This bastard. It's disgusting enough that Atwood uses his position to demand benefits. Now they are using my name, which is even more unforgivable. Next to him, Mr. Tang was thinking, Atwood is a genuine senior executive of Intercontinental Hotels Group in the Asia-Pacific region. He should not lie. Mr. Tang believed what he said a little. While he was thinking about it, Chun Fan couldn't help but speak. Is this Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia-Pacific president really someone who likes to take advantage of others? Yes. Atwood answered without hesitation. Why don't I feel like that? Chun Fan replied. Ha. Do you know our president? Even if you do, are you as familiar with him as I am? I am the president's confidant, and we have been friends for more than 20 years. Atwood despised Chun Fan. If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense. Chun Fan, who has known the president for more than 20 years, was so angry that he laughed. He is not even in his 20s yet. How come this guy and I have known each other for more than 20 years? How come he knew me in my previous life? Mr. Tang, we can't continue the discussion with this kind of people around. If we want to continue the cooperation with Intercontinental Hotels Group, we need to make friends with our president and get this guy out first. Atwood asked Mr. Tang. He was particularly unhappy with Chun Fan. Mr. Atwood, calm down. Mr. Tang immediately spoke up to comfort the other party. You say I don't understand? Chun Fan didn't tolerate Atwood and directly refuted him. No one in the world understands your Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific president better than me. Chun Fan spoke domineeringly. You are so arrogant. Atwood looked at Chun Fan coldly. I, a good friend of the president who has known him for more than 20 years, don't dare to say that. Who are you to dare to say that? My name is Chun Fan. Chun Fan spoke calmly. Oh, Chun Fan didn't call you anything. Atwood was horrified. The next moment, Atwood shocked everyone with his words. You are the new president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific, Mr. Chin? Atwood looked at Chun Fan in astonishment. This afternoon, he just heard that the president of the Asia Pacific region of Intercontinental Hotels Group was replaced by a man named Chun Fan, but no one knew him. Just now, he just wanted to take advantage of Chun Fan's power to bully others and gild himself. He boasted that he and Chun Fan had been friends for more than 20 years. He thought that no one knew Mr. Chin anyway, so even if he was taking advantage of the power of others, no one would expose him. So he was so fearless. But who could have thought that Mr. Chun, who became his immediate superior, would also appear here and witness him asking for benefits with his own eyes? In the living room, Mr. Tang, Tang Hong, and others were also looking at Chun Fan in amazement. In addition to being the largest shareholder of Tiffany Group and the owner of Patek Philippe, Mr. Chun has another powerful identity. The Tang family members admired Chun Fan very much. Mr. Chun is really young and promising. He is really awesome. I'm only 20 years old this year. May I ask, how did you and I become friends for more than 20 years? Chun Fan questioned the other party coldly. Atwood suddenly broke out in a cold sweat and trembled with fear. Mr. Chun, I was wrong. Was I talking nonsense? Atwood stood up suddenly and looked at Chun Fan nervously. Let's not talk about my affairs for now. How do you explain the fact that you used your power to demand benefits from the Tang family? Chun Fan spoke again. Atwood didn't know how to respond. Go back and pack your things, and then prepare to be sued by the legal department of our Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan spoke coldly. After just knowing the other party's identity, Chun Fan turned on the recording button on his mobile phone and left evidence. How could Chun Fan let such a person go so easily? No, Mr. Chun, I was wrong. Atwood quickly begged Chun Fan for mercy, but it was too late. After hesitating for a moment, Atwood suddenly spoke seriously. Mr. Chun, how about this? I'm going to tell you something important, something that's important to you. How about you forgive me this time? Chapter 338. Internal factions of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan becomes the focus. Mr. Chun has probably not been with Intercontinental Hotels Group for long, so he may not be very familiar with the situation within the group. Atwood speculated. So what? Chun Fan replied. If Mr. Chun sat in any other position, it would be fine. But you sat in the position of president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific, which is a problem. Atwood explains. This position is the focus of competition between Sebastian Tedder, the president of our Intercontinental Hotels Group, and April Walton, the largest shareholder. Like many companies, Intercontinental Hotels Group is divided into two factions. One of the groups is the current Intercontinental Hotels Group's largest shareholder, April Walton, and some of his Intercontinental Hotels executives. April Walton and Sebastian Ted are at odds, and he has always wanted to replace President Sebastian Ted or sideline him. The previous president of Intercontinental Hotels Group's Asia-Pacific region was Sebastian Ted's man, but he was replaced by April Walton. President Sebastian Ted, with the support of the second, third, and other shareholders, is also very powerful and can compete with the largest shareholder. Now, the position of president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia-Pacific has become vacant, and during this period, two factions have been competing for this position. As a result, he was suddenly intercepted by Chun Fan, which was not a good thing. Atwood introduced them to Chun Fan one by one. If someone from one of the two factions gets the position of president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific, it would naturally be good news. But if someone outside the two factions gets it, it will be a hot potato. Beside him, listening to Atwood's words, Mr. Tang's expression also became serious. This situation was indeed not easy to deal with. Very bad for Mr. Chun. If other people encountered the situation, they would definitely have a headache. But Chun Fan is different. He has a system behind him. With the system in place, would Chun Fan still be afraid of these two factions? They coveted their current positions, and Chun Fan also had his eyes on their positions, wanting to see him take away the position of the largest shareholder and president of Intercontinental Hotels Group first. Instead, they first took away his position as president of the Asia-Pacific region. I don't know this information, but it shouldn't be a big deal within the Intercontinental Hotels Group, right? Chun Fan looked at Atwood. Of course, just based on this information, I wouldn't dare ask Mr. Chun to forgive me once. Atwood smiled mysteriously and slowly stated his true purpose. To be honest, I am from the same faction as President Sebastian Ted, and I am quite familiar with a key figure in this faction. As long as Mr. Chun lets me go once, I can help you smooth things over so that you can join our faction and work for our president. When the time comes, you will become a member of our lineage, and naturally, you won't have to be afraid of others. He did this not only to ask Chun Fan to let him go, but also because if he could bring the current president of Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific to his side, he would definitely be rewarded and his future would be brighter. He killed two birds with one stone. Let me join your president, Sebastian Ted? Chun Fan sneered. You should wait for the Ministry of Justice to find you. Chun Fan refused outright. He now owns 18% of Intercontinental Hotels Group shares. And now the biggest supporter behind Sebastian Ted, the second largest shareholder of the current Intercontinental Hotels Group, only holds 22% of the shares. It will only take a short time for Chun Fan to surpass him. How could Chun Fan lower himself to become his younger brother? With a few more rewards, Chun Fan would be able to become the largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. By then, he would be able to be his younger brother. Mr. Chun, I hope you don't regret your decision. Atwood looked at Chun Fan unwillingly and left angrily. When Chun Fan was visiting the Tang family, The news that Chun Fan became the president of the Asia-Pacific region at the Intercontinental Hotels Group headquarters also reached Sebastian Ted. Sebastian Ted gathered a few supporters and considered countermeasures. What do you think we should do with Chun Fan in the future? Should we win him over or target him? Sebastian Ted asked several supporters. Just as several supporters were thinking about it, one of them suddenly received a call from Atwood. Originally, this supporter didn't want to answer the phone, but when he saw that the caller was from the Asia-Pacific region, he picked up the phone. Vice President, our new president of the Asia-Pacific region is a piece of shit. He actually looked down on us. I took the initiative to try to bring him into our team, but he scolded me and fired me instead. Right from the start, Atwood started saying all kinds of bad things about Chun Fan, eliminating the possibility that he was deliberately asking for benefits. What? He refuses to join our party? The supporter's face turned grim. Everything else doesn't matter. But if the other party refuses to join them, that won't do. Yes, Vice President. Atwood replied. I'm here with the president now. Please talk to him. This supporter turned on the hands-free button. Atwood started to complain again. This guy really doesn't know how to appreciate my kindness. If he doesn't want to join us, then doesn't that mean Chun Fan wants to join Apple Walton? We must not let this happen. People in the office started discussing heatedly. How about this? I'll go meet that Chun Fan. At the critical moment, a pot-bellied man stood up. He is surprisingly the biggest supporter of Sebastian Tedder and the second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group today, Augustine Hansen. Seeing Augustine Hansen stand up, the others naturally had no objections and expressed their support. If Chun Fan is willing to stand on our side, everything will be fine. But if he is not willing, even if he is neutral, I will not let him off easily. Augustine Hansen said with a gloomy face. Here, only submission is allowed. Anyone who does not submit, even if they are neutral, is an enemy. That's hard work. President Sebastian Tedder agreed. Soon, Augustine Hansen left the office and prepared to go to Dacia. Chapter 339. 67th day after severing ties, becoming the second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. In Hong Kong Island, in the Tang family, Atwood was driven away, and Mr. Tang looked at Chun Fan sincerely. Mr. Chun, Atwood mentioned earlier that your Intercontinental Hotels Group Asia Pacific headquarters plans to build several hotels in Dacia. I can't say anything else, but the quality of our Tang real estate is absolutely fine, and I will try to keep the construction costs as low as possible while maintaining the quality. Mr. Tang promised. I'm not very clear about this matter. How about this? I'll ask about it in general when I get back. Mr. Tang, don't worry. I will consider your Tang real estate first. Chun Fan spoke. Thank you, Mr. Chun. Mr. Tang was extremely grateful to Chun Fan. After the dinner, Mr. Tang personally sent someone to send Chun Fan and Xia Ruoshui back to the hotel. Time passed little by little, and around 10 o'clock the next morning, there was a noise coming from the door of Chun Fan's presidential suite. It seemed like someone was knocking on the door. Yes, Chun Fan was a little curious, as there didn't seem to be many people who knew him living here. Thinking about it, Chun Fan went to open the door. At this moment, a middle-aged lady, accompanied by her female secretary, was standing politely in front of the door of the room. Excuse me, is this Mr. Chun from Intercontinental Hotels Group? After seeing Chun Fan, the middle-aged lady greeted him politely. Who are you? Chun Fan nodded, then asked in surprise. Hello, Mr. Chun. I am Zhang Jinxiu, the chairman of Jinxiu Real Estate Group. I heard that Mr. Chun lives here, so I came to visit you specially. The middle-aged lady introduced herself. Having said that, he asked his female secretary to take out various gifts in large and small packages. These gifts were worth at least $1 million. Then please come in. Chun Fan spoke. The middle-aged lady and her secretary walked into the living room of the presidential suite. I wonder what Mr. Zhang wants to talk to me about? Chun Fan asked. Mr. Chun, our Jinxiu Real Estate Group wants to cooperate with your company. And your predecessor, Mr. Harold, president of the Asia-Pacific region, also has this intention. The middle-aged lady spoke the truth. Originally, they had almost dealt with Harold, but who knew that Harold would be dismissed later? Last night, the middle-aged lady heard that Chun Fan had become the new president of Intercontinental Hotels Group in Asia-Pacific. After a little inquiry, she found out that Chun Fan was living in the Intercontinental Hotel in Hong Kong Island. She knew many members of the management of the Intercontinental Hotels Group's Asia-Pacific headquarters. Chun Fan had registered to stay at this hotel, and there was nothing to hide. He could easily be found by checking the background. So last night, they set off without stopping and came to Hong Kong Island. Really? Chun Fan answered indifferently. As the saying goes, a new emperor appoints new ministers. What his predecessor promised has nothing to do with him. The middle-aged lady knew that it was useless to say anything, so she could only lower her voice. Mr. Chun, if you are also willing to let us build those hotels, I am willing to give you 10% of the profits as a reward for your hard work. If you give me 10% of the profits, then your Jinshio Real Estate Group's profits will be reduced. Can you still guarantee the quality? Chun Fan asked back. As for quality, isn't it okay if it's about the same? As long as nothing goes wrong, the most that can happen is that the Intercontinental Hotels Group will suffer a little loss. That doesn't matter. After all, the Intercontinental Hotels Group is not yours. The middle-aged lady answered indifferently. You can take your gift and leave. We will never cooperate with you. Chun Fan refused outright. What does almost enough mean? He is already the third largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group and will become the largest shareholder in the future. If the group suffers losses, I will also suffer losses. If something goes wrong, the consequences will not be comparable to the benefits of 10%. Mr. Chun, everything is easy to talk about. The middle-aged lady still wanted to persuade Chun Fan. Chun Fan responded indifferently. There's nothing to talk about. The middle-aged lady sighed softly and had no choice but to prepare to leave with her female secretary. Before they could walk out, they saw a foreign man with a big belly walking quickly towards them, led by several hotel staff. When the middle-aged lady saw the foreign man's appearance clearly, her eyes suddenly lit up. Isn't this Augustine Hansen, the second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group? This is a senior executive of Intercontinental Hotels Group who is more powerful than Chun Fan. Thinking of this, the middle-aged lady hurried over to say hello. Augustine Hansen was a little disgusted at first, but after he heard that Chun Fan refused to cooperate with this middle-aged lady, a strange look flashed in his eyes. You stay first. Augustine Hansen opens his mouth. Mr. Chun, this is... The hotel manager quickly stepped forward and introduced the two parties. Mr. Chun, I'm sure you have guessed my purpose. That Atwood may have offended you before. I am willing to support you in any way you punish him. On the way here, Augustine Hansen inquired a little about what happened last night, and he didn't quite believe what Atwood said. However, I still hope that Mr. Chun can join our camp. After all, Mr. Chun is only our third largest shareholder. Augustine Hansen invited Chun Fan first. I have no interest in joining your fight. Chun Fan shook his head. Augustine Hansen's face immediately fell after being rejected by Chun Fan. Mr. Chun, if you can't be our friend, then you can only be our enemy. Augustine Hansen threatened Chun Fan. And being our enemy will not end well. Really, being my enemy will not end well either. Chun Fan used Augustine Hansen's words to hit back at himself. Chun Fan hates being threatened by others the most. Chun Fan, you don't think that just because you have become the president of the Asia-Pacific region, no one will dare to touch you because of your status as the third largest shareholder, right? Augustine Hansen and Chun Fan completely broke off relations. Chun Fan, you are so shameless. Mr. Augustine has come to persuade you personally, but you still don't know what's good for you. Do you want to die so badly? I advise you to report to Mr. Augustine as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will be doomed. In order to please Augustine Hansen, the middle-aged lady next to him immediately changed her attitude towards Chun Fan and mocked him loudly. Augustine Hansen stood up suddenly and stared at Chun Fan. As long as I want, our lineage can easily sideline you, or even remove you from your position. What makes you think you can remove me? Chun Fan asked back. Why? Because I am the second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Augustine Hansen replied triumphantly. However, before he could finish his words, the system's voice came again. By 67th day after the severance of relations, rewarded with 7% of Intercontinental Hotels Group shares, becoming the new second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chapter 340. I thought I had discovered the direct descendant of the Su family in Hong Kong Island, the secret of the Su family. The system's reward today happened to be shares of Intercontinental Hotels Group. And this time the system rewarded Chun Fan with a full 7 shares of Intercontinental Hotels Group in one go. In an instant, the shares of Intercontinental Hotels Group in Chun Fan's hands reached an astonishing 25, immediately surpassing Augustine Hansen in front of him and becoming the new second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Not only that, the current largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group, Apple Walton, only holds 33% of the shares. Chun Fan is only 7% of the shares away from surpassing his opponent and becoming the largest shareholder of the new Intercontinental Hotels Group and becoming the #1 person in Intercontinental Hotels Group. Why? Why don't you speak? After Augustine Hansen finished speaking, he saw that Chun Fan didn't say anything and thought that Chun Fan was scared, so he became even more proud. I'm sorry to tell you that you have just fallen to the third largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan spoke slowly. Ah? What do you mean? Augustine Hansen didn't understand what Chun Fan said for a moment. I have become the third largest shareholder. So who is the second largest shareholder? Augustine Hansen asked subconsciously. The second largest shareholder is me. Chun Fan answered domineeringly. In an instant, Augustine Hansen and the middle-aged lady were both dumbfounded. They looked at Chun Fan in disbelief. How is it possible that you have become the second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group? You have only been the third largest shareholder for a short time, and you only hold 18% of the shares. Augustine Hansen was a little unconvinced. That was before. Now I own 25% of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan replied calmly. 25. Augustine Hansen took a breath and looked surprised. As for the middle-aged lady, her expression was extremely complicated. Surprise, shock, regret, self-blame, and other emotions appeared on her face. Just now, in order to please Augustine Hansen, she had been sarcastic towards Chun Fan, but now she was told that Chun Fan had surpassed Augustine Hansen and became the new second largest shareholder of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Now, hasn't she become a joke? As for Augustine Hansen himself, he froze there, not knowing how to face Chun Fan for a moment. I just said that being my enemy will not end well either. Chun Fan looked at Augustine Hansen coldly. A chill ran down Augustine Hansen's back. In such a short period of time, Chun Fan has already acquired 25% of the group's shares. He has such strong financial resources and connections. Augustine Hansen is ashamed of himself. I'm really sorry, Mr. Chun. I was rude just now. At this moment, even Augustine Hansen, who always regarded himself as a noble and was extremely arrogant, could not help but lower his arrogant head and sincerely apologize to Chun Fan. Seeing that Augustine Hansen had surrendered, the middle-aged lady was so frightened that she trembled with fear. I'm sorry, Mr. Chun. I was the one who couldn't spit out ivory. I was just being rude. The middle-aged lady slapped herself hard on the mouth and apologized to Chun Fan. You don't have to apologize. I will focus on taking care of Jinxiu Real Estate Group in the future. Chun Fan replied indifferently. After hearing what Chun Fan said, the middle-aged lady felt a black screen before her eyes and almost fainted. The middle-aged lady apologized to Chun Fan again, and Chun Fan directly asked the staff to drive her away. Go back and tell your president that I want the position of president of Intercontinental Hotels Group. Ask him to clean up the president's office and wait for me to hand it over. Chun Fan looked at Augustine Hansen coldly and asked him to convey a message. Augustine Hansen knew that he had provoked Chun Fan because of his previous threat, and he really regretted it. Realizing it was too late to say anything, Augustine Hansen could only leave in a hurry and return to discuss countermeasures with his people. After these annoying flies left, Chun Fan's presidential suite suddenly became quiet. Let's move to the villa in Big Wave Bay, Sheko. Then we won't be bothered by these flies. Chun Fan suggested to Xia Ruoshui. That villa was won by Chun Fan from Zhengkangshu. It is one of the top luxury homes in Hong Kong Island. Good. Xia Ruoshui naturally had no objection. The two packed their luggage and left the room, just as Chun Fan and Xia Ruoshui reached the first floor of the Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan suddenly noticed that a middle-aged man who looked familiar passed by and walked into the elevator next to him. Chun Fan stopped and took another quick glance when the other person wasn't paying attention. This time, Chun Fan was sure that he was not mistaken. The middle-aged man was the direct descendant of the Jinling Su family, Sun Yin Kai. He is also a son who is highly valued by the head of the Su family, Old Master Su, and has a very high status in the Su family. Chun Fan had seen this guy's photo in the Su family's information. But what is this guy doing in Hong Kong Island? I am here to travel with Ruoshui. So could she be the same? It doesn't seem like it. Chun Fan found the manager of Intercontinental Hotels Group and asked him to investigate Sun Yin Kai's record in Intercontinental Hotels Group. Later, Chun Fan was surprised to find that Sun Yin Kai would quietly come to Hong Kong Island for a short period of time every few months, and he came alone without bringing anyone with him. No one knew what he came for. This time, Sun Yinkai even booked rooms for more than 10 days at Intercontinental Hotels Group. Chun Fan became even more curious about this. There must be something fishy going on here. Chun Fan needs to investigate. Afterwards, Chun Fan asked Xiao Ruoshui to go to the villa on Big Wave Bay Road, Sheko first, while he went to the Tang family. He had just arrived in Hong Kong Island and didn't have any connections or intelligence network. But the Tang family is different. They are one of the top wealthy families in Hong Kong Island and definitely have a huge network of contacts and intelligence networks in Hong Kong Island. Chun Fan wanted the Tang family to help investigate Sun Yinkai's whereabouts. After arriving at the Tang family, Chun Fan gave a brief explanation. It's a small matter. The guy's name is Sun Yinkai. He's in his 40s. He's from Jinling, right? Leave this matter to me. Mr. Chun, just wait for my news. Tang Hong agreed immediately. Investigating a person in Hong Kong Island was nothing to their Tang family. After saying that, Tang Hong went to make arrangements. 10 minutes later, Tang Hong came back with a document in his hand. Mr. Chun, you want information about Sun Yinkai's whereabouts in Hong Kong Island. Having said that, Tang Hong handed the information to Chun Fan. Chun Fan thanked him politely and then opened the information. After glancing at the information, Chun Fan's eyes suddenly lit up. He seemed to have discovered a secret of the Su family. Chapter 341, is Chun Fan a billionaire? No, he is a 100-billionaire. According to the information, after Sun Yinkai came to Hong Kong Island, he often went to a company called Hong Kong Jiufeng Entertainment Company and stayed there for a whole day. Every time Sun Yinkai came, he would go to this place, and the people at Jiufeng Entertainment Company seemed to respect Sun Yinkai very much. Chun Fan suspected that this company might be a secret industry of the Su family. Of course, this is still hypothetical. To be more specific, we need to conduct an in-depth investigation. If Jiufeng Entertainment Company is really the Su family's secret industry, the Su family must have hidden it very deeply, and it would not be so easy to investigate. At this moment, Chun Fan actually hoped it was true. If Hong Kong Jiufeng Entertainment Company is really the Su family's property, Chun Fan doesn't mind destroying it and letting the Su family suffer another blow. You know, these secret industries are the Su family's reliance when they encounter danger in the future. Solving them now is equivalent to cutting off the Su family's retreat. By then, there will be no way out, and the Su family will surely die. Chun Fan carefully read the information again, and then Chun Fan discovered that during the time Sun Yinkai was in Hong Kong Island, in addition to going to Hong Kong Island Jiufeng Entertainment Company, he also often went to a high-end residential area. This caught Chun Fan's attention, and he thought there must be something hidden here. Afterwards, Chun Fan once again asked Tang Hong to help investigate the background of Hong Kong Jiufeng Entertainment Company. And what exactly was this high-end residential area that Sun Yinkai often visited for? No problem, but this investigation is a little troublesome. I need some time. Tang Hong agreed. Hearing this, Chun Fan thought it would take a day or two, but Tang Hong spoke again. How about this, Mr. Chun? I'll give you an answer within 2 hours. No problem. Chun Fan agreed. It was only 2 hours, which was already very fast. Tang Hong went to investigate, and Mr. Tang was not there. Chun Fan also left the Tang family and came to the villa in Big Wave Bay, Sheko. When Chun Fan just arrived, Xiao Ruoshui seemed to have something to go out for. What's wrong? Chun Fan asked. Grandpa just contacted me. He heard that I came to Hong Kong Island, so he wanted me to meet a wealthy man. It seems that our family will cooperate with him in the future, so he wanted me to learn about the situation of this wealthy man in Hong Kong Island first. Xiao Ruoshui answered, I'll go with you. Chun Fan spoke. Chun Fan guessed that this might be a test of Xiao Ruoshui's ability by the Xia family. It just so happened that I had nothing to do at the moment, and Tang Hong's investigation would also take some time. Okay. Xiao Ruoshui was very happy to see that Chun Fan was going to accompany her. After leaving the villa, at Xiao Ruoshui's suggestion, they bought some gifts and then went to the rich man's villa. More than 40 minutes later, Chun Fan and Xiao Ruoshui arrived at their destination. After ringing the doorbell, a servant came to open the door immediately. Not long after, the two met the Hong Kong tycoon, Xie Jingxue. Xiao Ruoshui explained her purpose. Are you from the Xia family? After listening to this, Xie Jingxue was surprised and a little angry. He was surprised that the Xia family sent someone so quickly, and what made him angry was that the Xia family actually sent 2 young people. The Xia family of Magic City. Don't you take me seriously? Take a seat, Xie Jingxue said with some disgust. Mr. Xia, what do you mean by Xia family? Xie Jingxue looked at Chen Fan, and he subconsciously thought that Chen Fan was also from the Xia family. Boss Xie, my name is Chen Fan, and my girlfriend is Xia Ruoxue, a member of the Xia family. Chen Fan corrected. What? Aren't you from the Xia family yet? Now, Xie Jingxue became even angrier. It would be fine if the Xia family sent a junior, but why did they also send a young female member who probably has no status in the Xia family, and brought her boyfriend with her? Xie Jingxue felt insulted. I want to negotiate with the Xia family. If you're not from the Xia family, you can leave. You are not welcome here. Xie Jingxue made a sour face and got angry. Boss Xie, my boyfriend is here with me, not an outsider. If there is anything, it will be fine to talk to him in front of him. It will definitely not leak any secrets, don't worry. Xia Ruoxue spoke up. She thought Xie Jingxue said that because he thought the business secrets might be leaked. I'm not worried about leaking anything. Our conversation won't lead to anything substantial anyway. I just don't want a lowly guy in my house. My house is not for anyone to come. Xie Jingxue spoke up. He was veiled in veiled criticism. It was not convenient for him to directly satirize Xia Ruoxue, who was a member of the Xia family, so he had to target Chen Fan, who was not a member of the Xia family. In his eyes, Chen Fan was just a son-in-law who lived off the Xia family and had no status. Boss Xie, you are going too far, Xia Ruoxue retorted. Is that too much? Xie Jingxue sneered. Those who are qualified to be guests at my house are all descendants of wealthy families, or some very wealthy people and big shots. None of these people is worth less than 10 billion. Xie Jingxue asked back, do you think he could be a billionaire? I'm not a billionaire. Chen Fan spoke. Seeing Chen Fan say this, Xie Jingxue smiled and said, you see, he is right. However, Chen Fan's next sentence wiped away the smile on Xie Jingxue's face. I'm a billionaire, Chen Fan added calmly. A billionaire? These 4 words gave Xie Jingxue a big shock. Billionaire, you are a billionaire. How is that possible? How old are you? Xie Jingxue looked at Chen Fan with disbelief on his face. Seeing that Xie Jingxue didn't believe it, Chen Fan opened his mobile phone and casually clicked on his bank card balance. Chen Fan put his phone on the table. Seeing this, Xie Jingxue stood up, walked over, and looked down. The next second, he was stunned. The balance of Chen Fan's bank account alone was more than 20 billion, close to 30 billion. This is liquid capital, not assets. You know, even many real billionaires only have a few billion, or at most tens of billions of liquid funds. But Chen Fan in front of him has nearly 30 billion in his bank card. Xie Jingxue took a breath of cold air. It's only 20 to 30 billion, less than 100 billion. Xie Jingxue was still trying to save face. But before he could finish his words, Chen Fan's cell phone suddenly rang. Xie Jingxue happened to see the caller ID, which read, Mr. Tang Zhou. After seeing these words, Xie Jingxue seemed to be struck by lightning. He froze there, staring at Chen Fan's phone in a daze, not moving at all. Chapter 342 Xia Ruoxue is the future head of the Xia family? News from the Tang family. Xie Jingxue couldn't believe what he saw. He thought that Chen Fan, a son-in-law with no status and identity, actually received a call from Mr. Tang, the head of a top wealthy family. Was he hallucinating? Chen Fan picked up the phone. Mr. Tang. Chen Fan greeted. Boss Chen, the matter you asked my son to investigate has made some progress. It's not convenient to talk about it over the phone. How about you come over to my place, and we can talk about it in detail. Mr. Tang spoke. Any news? Chen Fan was stunned. Only about an hour had passed, and there was news. Chen Fan thought he would have to wait for 2 hours. The Tang family's network of contacts in Hong Kong Island was indeed extensive. Actually, if Tang Hong were to conduct the investigation, it would really take 2 hours. But during Tang Hong's investigation, Mr. Tang came back from outside, heard about the incident, and took action personally, which greatly shortened the investigation time. Thank you for your help, Mr. Tang. I'll do as you said. We'll see you at the Tang mansion later. Chen Fan agreed to the other party. Tang mansion. After hearing Chen Fan's words, Xie Jingxue completely believed that the call just now was really from the head of the Tang family. And what Chen Fan just said, just do as Mr. Tang said. Meet at the Tang mansion. Doesn't that mean that it was Mr. Tang who took the initiative to invite Chen Fan to the Tang mansion? WTF, WTF, WTF. To be invited to visit the Tang mansion by the Tang family, one of the top wealthy families in Hong Kong, one must be definitely not an ordinary person. Even he does not have the qualifications. At this moment, Xie Jingxue completely believed that Chen Fan was a billionaire, and not just an ordinary billionaire, but a top billionaire who was related to the Tang family. A line of cold sweat suddenly broke out on Xie Jingshue's face. "Mr. Chun, please take a seat. I was reckless and blind just now." Xie Jingshue quickly stood up and humbly apologized to Chen Fan. "And I really didn't mean to target you. I was just a little unhappy because the Xia family sent a junior here." Xie Jingshue explained to Chen Fan why he was targeting Chen Fan. "Do you think that the Xia family sending a junior, and a woman at that, means they don't value you? You are wrong. Absolutely wrong." Chen Fan spoke indifferently. "In the entire Xia family, Ruoshue's status is extremely high." "Ah? This lady is from the Xia family." Xie Jingshue didn't understand what Chen Fan meant for a moment. "Ruoshue is the future heir and head of the Xia family. How many people in the entire Xia family have a higher status than her? The Xia family sent the future heir to talk to you, and you still have so many things to say?" Chen Fan scolded the other party. "What? This Miss Xia is the future head of the Xia family?" Xie Jingshue was greatly surprised. "I really didn't recognize the real talent. I deserve to die." Xie Jingshue also apologized to Xia Ruoshue repeatedly. If he had known this, he wouldn't have been so sarcastic. Next to her, after listening to what Chen Fan said, even Xia Ruoshue looked at him in surprise. Although she intended to become the future head of the Xia family, it was just an intention, not true. Noticing Xia Ruoshue's gaze, Chen Fan gave Xia Ruoshue a look. "When you are away from home, you give yourself an identity. What's more, Chen Fan is just telling you in advance what will happen in the future." In recent days, when chatting with Ruoshue in the evening, Chen Fan discovered that Ruoshue was interested in competing for the position of the future head of the Xia family. In this case, Chen Fan would naturally support her with all his strength. With his help and the future father-in-law who holds a very high status in the Xia family, wouldn't it be a sure thing for Ruoshue to become the next head of the Xia family? "How about this, Miss Xia? To express my apology, I am willing to reduce the price by 10% based on the conditions I discussed with the Xia family before." In the end, in order to express his apology and to make friends with Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshue, Xie Jingshue deliberately lowered his requirements. "There's no need for us to continue talking to someone as blind as you." Chen Fan gave Xia Ruoshue another look. Xia Ruoshue also stood up, and the two of them walked outside. "You two, please don't leave. How about this? I'm willing to reduce the price by 20%. Seeing this scene, Xie Jingshue gritted his teeth and stated his limits. A 20% reduction is already a lot. Chen Fan sneered in his heart. Originally, they came to have a good talk with Xie Jingshue, but he insisted on seeking his own death. Who can they blame for losing so much money? Other members of the Xia family will talk to you in detail later. Chen Fan responded to Xie Jingshue coldly, then left with Xia Ruoshue. If someone else had asked Xia Ruoshue to do this, Chen Fan would definitely not pay any attention to Xie Jingshue. But this thing happened to be asked by the head of the Xia family, Old Master Xia, to be done by Xia Ruoshue, and there was a high probability that it was a test of Xia Ruoshue's ability. Later, Chen Fan will help Ruoshue become the future head of the Xia family. Naturally, she has to give a satisfactory answer to Old Master Xia's first test. Only in this way can Ruoshue's status in Old Master Xia's heart be improved again. After leaving Xie Jingshue, Xia Ruoshue called her grandfather and told him that Xie Jingshue was willing to reduce the price by 20%. 20%? Old Master Xia was overjoyed. "Ruoshue, you did a beautiful job." Old Master Xia sighed. He originally thought that as long as Ruoshue could reduce the other party's level by half, it would be very good. As a result, the granddaughter managed to lower the other party's requirements by 20%. This result was far beyond Old Master Xia's expectations. It turned out that his granddaughter was so capable. In an instant, Xia Ruoshue's status in Old Master Xia's heart rose sharply. What Ruoshue did this time made him quite satisfied. "Ruoshue, you've handled the Jinling branch's affairs well. Keep it up. Grandpa has confidence in you." Old Master Xia encouraged Xia Ruoshue with a meaningful look. After Xia Ruoshue's affairs were dealt with, Chen Fan was going to the Tang family, so Xia Ruoshue went shopping by herself. She wanted to bring some gifts back for her sister and parents when she went out for a trip. More than half an hour later, Chen Fan arrived at the Tang family. At this moment, Mr. Tang and Tang Hong were both there. On the table in front of the two people, there was a thick document. "Mr. Chun." Tang Hong handed the information to Chen Fan. Chen Fan nodded and couldn't wait to open the information to verify his guess. Chapter 343. Sue family secret industry exposed. Hong Kong island tycoon with a weird temper.